On the shoulders and legs of Donovan McNabb. Opening day in Philadelphia, kickoff weekend, week number 1. And no matter how many times you do it, there is nothing like this opening weekend. Today, the Eagles entertain the St. Louis Rams, two of the best teams in the NFL. Summerall here with John Madden for our 21st year. And John, let's talk about the Rams first. Many say they're the most explosive team offensively in football.
Yeah, they definitely are the most explosive team in football. And you start off with the Rams, and they have a very good offensive line. And they don't get a lot of mention, but they block very well for the run and pass protection. Then you go, they have a good tight end in Conwell, and then they have great wide receivers. And not just one or two of them, but 3 and 4 of them. They can spread you out, and they all have speed. And then the thing you have to go to is Kurt Warner. I mean, I think Kurt Warner is the most accurate passer in all of football. And he just doesn't throw the ball. He puts the ball on him. And then Marshall Faulk, the MVP of the league, he does everything. He's a running back. We'll see him in the backfield. We'll see him running, inside. We'll see him running outside. Then we'll see him split out and used as a wide receiver. So that is a package you really have to worry about. Now you go to defense. And that's where they got hurt last year. Their defense wasn't very good. In the offseason, they brought in Lovie Smith from Tampa Bay. He's the new defensive coordinator. They have 7 new starters. I don't know if these players are a lot better than last year's players. But I will say this about their defense. They play a lot harder.
Well, the Eagles think they're pretty good, too, and I think they are as well on both sides of the ball.
Well, you start off with Donovan McNabb. I mean, last year he accounted for 75% of their offense. Of course, they didn't have Deuce Staley for a big part of that. So they get Deuce Staley back this year. They have speed. They have new wide receivers. They have speed out there. And I think that this offense is going to be very exciting. And I love their defense because they're very aggressive. There was talk that Troy Vincent might not play. He got injured in practice Thursday. He didn't work out Friday, worked out yesterday, worked out last night, and he's okay. Jim Johnson says the 2 things we have to do, contain Marshall Faulk, and we have to put Kurt Warner on his back.
And that's the goodly task. Kickoff weekend continues on Fox with a showdown between 2 NFC contenders. Rams and Eagles next.
That's how you play Eagle football. You mash, 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 score.
About this stadium and this Eagle team and their preseason schedule is this turf on which these two teams will play. Ron Pitts is down on the sideline. He'll be with us throughout this year, but he's got more on the condition and the turf and what kind of shoes are going to be worn. Ron, all yours.
How you doing, Pat? Well, they call this turf next turf. It's a synthetic blend that tries to simulate natural grass. It's longer, higher, and a lot softer than most AstroTurf and a lot less abrasive. The players love that. But the big problem is what kind of shoe now do you wear on it? Keep in mind, the Rams have never played on next turf. This is their first time. So as a result, they sent Todd Hewitt, their equipment man, up here last week to scout things out. The Rams get off the plane yesterday with 200 pairs of shoes. Each guy came out here early this morning. They tried out the shoes. Around 1 o'clock, they had 5 different pairs that they were trying out. And they kept going and going until they got the right pair. The consensus seems to be this right here. They started with this shoe. This is the baseball shoe or softball shoe. The Philadelphia Phillies wear it when they play here. A lot of the Eagles are wearing this shoe, especially the Eagle defensive backs. The next shoe is the rain turf shoe. It's usually done or used whenever it's very, very wet outside. A lot of the offensive and defensive linemen are wearing this shoe. A lot of the Ram defensive backs, interesting enough, are also wearing this shoe. One key point on Troy Vincent, of course, as John said, he got hurt in practice earlier this week. I talked to him last night. He went through a rigorous workout, like you said, John, back pedal stop, twisted turn. He tried to hurt his knee because he didn't want to get out here and feel it for the first time. He said, I'm A-OK, my team needs me, and I'm going to go. Pat?
All right, Ron, thank you very much. You can see the spray behind the Eagle bench. It's kind of warm. It's not uncomfortable, not yet.
And now it counts. I mean, this is what it's all about, and everything counts from this point on. And it's not necessarily the shoes. This is just what you do above the shoes.
I was just going to say, you were drafted by the Eagles. Wilkins set to kick it off. Buckhalter and Brian Mitchell to return it. And that's Mitchell, and the Rams do an excellent job of covering that kickoff. Let's look at the Eagle offense. Up front, Thomas Wellborn, Hank Fraley in place of Bubba Miller at center, Mayberry and Runyon. Kingston, Deuce Saley, Cecil Martin, Chad Lewis, and James Thrash. The two wide receivers, Pinkston and Thrash, are new, and that unit's led by number 5, Donovan McNabb.
We talked about Lovie Smith, the new defensive coordinator of the Rams. The two things that he said that they had to do is keep Donovan McNabb in the pocket and create turnovers.
Well, keeping him in the pocket is a real task. Fumble, and the Rams have it. A new center.
You just said that keeping him in the pocket was going to be tough. The other thing, creating turnovers, it wasn't. Is that Hank Fraley, the new center here?
Yep.
You see, he gets the ball up there. I mean, it looked like it just hit Donovan McNabb or right in the hands and bounced out.
Jeff Scanina made the recovery.
That's putting a load on the ball when old Scanina falls on it.
And that's that turnover they were talking about. Bubba Miller, we spoke about, he broke his ankle. Grant Wistrom, the Rams defensive end and leader, is out with a bad knee. First for the Rams at about the 13, and Warner pump fakes, gives to Marshall Faulk. Faulk inside the 10 to about the 8. Hollis Thomas made the stop. Let's look at that Ram offense, that explosive unit that we talked about. A fine offensive line, as John said: Pace, Newton, McCollum, Timmerman, and Ryan Tucker. Speed on the outside, Holt and Bruce. Marshall Faulk, the versatile one. Hodgins and Ernie Conwell, the tight end. He's lined up to the left. Faulk again. Faulk into the end zone.
That was a heck of a cut by Marshall Faulk. That ball was starting to the right side. That was like a 4 or 6 hole play going to the right, and it ended up in the 7 hole. Watch it. He's going to start in here, but he's going to end up back over here. The thing that Marshall Faulk says is he always looks beyond and sees color. He's not looking for players, just colors flashing in front of him. And he sees a bunch of white over there, but he doesn't see any white back to the left.
Wilkins for the extra point with Ricky Prohl holding. Wilkins is good. He didn't miss all of last year. He was hurt for some time. Let's look at it again.
You know, I mean, part of it is vision, but a big part of it is feet. And that's why Marshall Faulk was the most valuable player in this league last year, because, as I was saying earlier, he can do it all. He can do it as a runner from the backfield. He can do it as a receiver. But look here. I mean, first, he sees that. He sees everything on that right side. He also sees nothing on the backside, but then he has the feet and the movement to get him in those positions.
That'll go down in the scores when you read the papers tomorrow as a 7-yard touchdown run by Marshall Faulk. But that was one heck of a run.
And the other thing is the backside of the offense. I mean, you have a play called to the right, but the backside of the offense, the side away from the play call, still blocked. And Tom Newton was back there, and Orlando Pace doing a good job of blocking to create that backside.
And Marshall Faulk is always aware of where everybody is. A real student of the game.
Marshall Faulk has to be one of the smartest players in all of football.
Yep.
I mean, he knows, and he said he started that in college, where he had a backfield coach at San Diego State that was a lot like an offensive coordinator. In fact, he later became an offensive coordinator.
For the Giants.
Right, Sean Payton. And he said, I mean, he taught him to play running back. He taught him like he was a quarterback.
Well, he learned the lesson well.
You know, we have replacement officials, and here's the umpire cam. And watch how he reads this defense. You see, he sees all those big piles there. One of the things is, if you looked at that onside, all of those white jerseys were on the ground, too. He just didn't want to run through them or jump over them. He went to the other side.
Wilkins, and this will again be Mitchell to return. And Mitchell has some room this time and gets it outside the 30 to about the 34. Holcomb brought him down. Let's have a look now at the St. Louis, the rebuilt St. Louis defense. Moran, Skanina, Young, and Chidi Ahanatu, formerly a Buccaneer. Fields, Fletcher, and Don Davis, the linebackers. And the secondary, Dexter McLean, Kim Herring, who didn't play in preseason, Archuleta, their #1 draft choice, and the recently acquired Enos Williams. To Deuce Staley.
Yeah, we talked about how the Rams are going to put Marshall Faulk out there. The Eagles gave them some of the same thing. They start with Deuce Staley. We saw this in practice the other day, and they're going to do a lot of that today. Deuce Staley, the running back, lined up as a wide receiver. Look, you see here, there was no one covering. They bring him out of the backfield. They just get out there quickly, and they just come up. McNabb just comes up and looks because there was no one covering him.
Here's Staley again. Across the 45, a couple of yards.
Yeah, that was so impressive. We were talking about that on Friday. Watching this Eagle team practice was the quickness that they had. I think they're trying to be a lot like the Rams. I mean, they explode out of the huddle. They get up to the line. They give you a movement. They give you a motion, and then boom, the ball's out of there.
The Rams lead at 7-0. This is Staley. And Deuce crosses the 50. Stopped by Don Davis.
Remember Deuce Staley last year? We had him in the opener down there in Dallas, and it was real hot, and that was the game that the Eagles used pickle juice to keep their guys going. Deuce Staley, in the second half of that game, he gained over 200 yards, but that was one of the greatest efforts that I've ever seen by a running back.
He said he got a little taste of that pickle juice before the game ever started.
Look at that. 201 yards he gained and 7.7 yards per carry.
There's Deuce again. No yards this time. Third.
He's one of those guys. Ron Pitts was talking about the shoes that he wears, and Deuce Staley says that he's wearing those baseball shoes, and you know, he had that foot surgery in the offseason where he had a new bridge and 2 screws put in his foot. And the thing that he says is, with these shoes, you can only wear them one time. He said the thing he has to remember about him, because you make so many cuts and wear them down, that after you practice a day or play one game, you have to throw them away.
2 tight ends. That's Thomason, who comes out in motion. Incomplete, intended for Staley. Through his hands. Those of you who watched surprising Carolina beat Minnesota, welcome to Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where the Rams lead the Eagles 7-0. They took advantage of an Eagle fumble on their first possession, and Marshall Faulk scored. Sean Landetta is back to punt. Oz Hakeem back to fielding at about the 16.5-yard line.
Sean Landetta has been punting like that for 17 years.
News and notes around the league. President Bush flipped the coin for all the early games to open 2001 NFL season, the 82nd season. Carolina Panthers scored the first touchdown of the season on opening kickoff. Ahman Green of Green Bay, 157 yards rushing. Minnesota was the only undefeated team in the league in preseason. They were beaten by Carolina today.
And then Oakland finally came back and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. That was a struggle for them. Tampa Bay had a struggle with the Dallas Cowboys.
That surprised a lot of people. Warner gets it to his tight end, Ernie Conwell. Let's have a look at the Philadelphia defense. Aggressive and mobile. Hugh Douglas, Hollis Thomas, Simon, and Brandon Whiting up front. Caldwell, Jeremiah Trotter in the middle, and Carlos Emmons. And the secondary, they think one of the best in the league. Taylor and Vincent, the corners. Damon Moore and Brian Dawkins, the safeties. First down, Rams. Warner back to throw it. Has plenty of time. Has an hand open. That's Isaac Bruce, I believe.
Here's the first thing you have to do is you have to block Douglas. If you're going to pass protect, you can't let Hugh Douglas have his way. And this is going to be a great matchup because Orlando Pace, number 76, is one of the bigger, stronger, and better tackles in this league. And you see Douglas is a little undersized. When you get a big, strong guy and he gets his hand on an undersized guy, the undersized guy doesn't have a chance.
I'd say Orlando Pace won that battle. First and 10.
He did his job.
Yes, he did. Warner back to Falk. A yard. They tripped him up.
The guy that tripped him up was Troy Vincent. We talked about him. There was a lot of question whether he would be able to play, and as Ron Pitt said, he went last night and he worked out on his own just to make sure that he could play, because he didn't want to wait to find out today if he could play. He wanted to know last night, and he passed all his own tests and said, I'm going to play. And he was the guy that got the penetration, came up and made that play. Very tough guy.
Yep. Second and about 9. 4 wide receiver setup. No running backs.
Empty backfield.
And here comes the blitz. When you don't keep anybody in the backfield, there's nobody to pick him up. That's Caldwell.
And you know that Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator of the Eagles, is going to do that because, as you say, Pat, when you only have no one in the backfield, you only have 5 guys to block. Now, if you bring a 6th guy, you see the offensive line slid to the right. So there was no one to get that backside guy, Mike Caldwell. You see them all go to the right, then there's going to be a free guy. And you know, there's empty backfield, 5 blockers. If you bring the 6th guy, and there's Jim Johnson right there, someone has to be free. And then the guy that's going to be free is when they slide, the guy that they slide away from.
Rams take a timeout. 7-0. Rams take advantage of a fumble on the exchange with the center by McNabb and score to take the lead. The historical city of Philadelphia.
There's John Welborn,
Yep.
the starting left guard of the Eagles, going off. Isn't that something?
Yep.
Their offensive line didn't miss a game. Not one offensive lineman for the Eagles that missed one game or one play last year. They all played the whole season. Now they've lost Bubba Miller, their center, and we see John Welborn, their guard.
The blitz again, and Warner is taken down again. Vincent was there, and Bobby Taylor, the other cornerback.
That's the thing we talked about, Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator, and you know that he believes. Here's Troy Vincent. What? See, he lines up like he's going to cover, and then he just comes on a blitz. Marshall Faulk gets there, and he gets away a little from Vincent, but Bobby Taylor, the other corner, was coming from the other side.
Did you ever think you'd see a day when you'd blitz both cornerbacks?
No, because you know, especially against the Rams, because you know you have to cover those guys. But the other way, against great wide receivers, the other way to do it is knock the quarterback down before he throws it.
John Baker gets off a good kick to Brian Mitchell, who won't fair catch it. And he struggles back to about the 29-yard line, where the Eagles will take over. 7-0 with 8:45 left to play in the first quarter at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, that's the Ram bench, and they've got the same method of cooling that the Eagles do. Deuce Staley behind McNabb. Out of bounds, intended for Pinkston. The first half, the early games of opening day are over. Baltimore, the defending champion, beats Chicago. Carolina upset Minnesota. Green Bay looked pretty good in beating Detroit. Indianapolis 45, the Jets 24. New Orleans beat Buffalo. The rest, Oakland, as you said, came back and beat Kansas City. Jacksonville over the Steelers. Cincinnati beat New England. 2nd and 10. McNabb drops. As time stands in there, hits Staley. Don Davis made the stop.
Deuce Staley was saying the other day that he said, one thing about McNabb, he says you'll be 3 yards away from him. That's usually, you know, a back is usually the closest receiver to a quarterback. And he said he just throws missiles at you. He said, I got to talk to that guy. That time he took a little off. I mean, he threw that little, what they call check down or check through to do Staley, and he took a little, as they say, mustard off it.
In this Ram defense, that's where the holes are going to be, because they're trying to emulate what Tampa Bay does.
Yeah, they play their middle linebacker deeper, and then on passing downs, he'll get real deep.
McNabb. Incomplete. He overthrew Staley.
You know, what do you think that he has in mind now? You know, we talk about Fletcher here, and you just see him. He's just staying with McNabb. You see McNabb here and London Fletcher there. That's the old spy thing or mirror. Wherever McNabb goes on that down, London Fletcher was going to go.
Landetta back to punt. As Hakeem fields it at the 50, throws it across the field, a lateral, and it's fumbled. That's Marshall Faulk, I believe, who fumbled it or didn't catch it cleanly. Jeremetrius Butler. The shoes are of such concern. The Rams' #1 choice. Well, John Madden back at the Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Troy Vincent.
Yeah, there was a question he was going to play today, and so far he's made a big play in the run, and he was one of the blitzers that sacked Kurt Warner.
Marshall Faulk to the 20. Stopped by Emmons. Fox postseason baseball begins October the 7th. Barry Bonds just hit 61 in the first inning against Colorado today. October the 2nd, our coverage begins. Eyes Hakeem, but there's a flag on the play.
I think they blew the whistle. They stopped the play, so that would have to be a penalty before the ball was snapped, because they wouldn't stop the play during the play. Yeah.
Offense number 76 prior to the play.
These again
second down
are replacement officials.
And then that's against Orlando Pace, and again that was before the ball was snapped, and that's why they blew the whistle, because the play doesn't count. Anytime you're playing and you have to pass protect against a quick defensive end, and that's what Hugh Douglas is, you will tend to start to back out there a little before you should. Here he is right here, Orlando Pace again against Hugh Douglas out there, knowing that he needs his quickness.
Here's the blitz again. They hit Warner. He does get rid of it. Mike Caldwell on the blitz, and he almost got there.
And one thing that they have to do is the Rams have to get this straightened out. They have to get their pass protection straightened out, because what you do defensively is you attack protection. And you can see there that they're going to have a free guy to that side. That's the second time Mike Caldwell has come free.
It's 3rd and 9. They're showing blitz again. They don't blitz. As Marshall Faulk stopped by Trotter, the middle linebacker.
Yeah, and that's a funny call on 3rd down. I think that Mike Martz figures we don't have this protection figured out here. We better get it figured out, because I don't want them getting any more hits on Kurt Warner right now. Kurt Warner told us last night, he said the big thing we have to do is when they bring their blitzes, because we know that they're going to do it, we have to block them early to discourage them. They haven't blocked them early, and obviously they haven't discouraged them.
Right.
This is going to be a punt block right here.
Baker. Back for the Rams. Ooh, and somebody came free if he had kicked it.
Yeah, they had the block on. They had the punt blocked on, and you see more big plays in special teams on opening day than you do any other week of the season.
Because that's the only thing you don't practice in training camp.
Full start. Number 52 offense. Repeat 4th down after the 5-yard penalty.
When you see no one out here on the cover, guys, you know that they have an overload in there and they're going to blitz and they're going to, come on the block. That's how you tell whether it's a block or return, and they're set up with the same thing now. See them come in right here, and they faked it.
Baker's punt is going to be fielded, or it bounces at about the 40 and takes a Ram bounce. Brian Mitchell lets it go. It's the Rams 7, the Eagles nothing. 5:16 left in the first. Up at the top of your picture and down below is the new construction, the new stadium, which will be ready for play in 2003.
Anytime you see that many big cranes, you know it's going to be a big edifice.
Edifice, that's good.
I don't know how that came out of where that one came from.
McNabb drops it over the middle to Chad Lewis.
Yeah, we were talking about the protections and how the Rams don't have these blitzes down, and they're really getting to them. That's what they're going over there on the sideline, and you can see them drawing up well, now they're looking at the pictures. Earlier they were drawing up the protections and showing them what they were doing, and now they got the Polaroids or the pictures from above. Here's the drawings they were doing, and you can see how they're working on what they have to do the next time they get out there.
Second and about 6. Out to Staley. Right now for a game break. Let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Pat and John, San Diego taking advantage of Washington early on this one. Tim Dwight taking the punt. What does he do? He takes it 84 yards to pay dirt. San Diego, North Turner would love to have this one on top by the score 10-0 over Washington. Back to Pat Summerall and John Madden.
And we're at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think JB in the pregame show picked San Diego as the biggest surprise team this year.
And they laughed at it.
Yeah, or the most improved team.
Chad Lewis makes the catch. And that's an Eagle first down.
I think eventually Donovan and McNabb or the Eagles are going to have to get the ball outside. Everything they've thrown so far has either been to Deuce Staley in the middle like this, just hitting him in the middle, or it's been to the tight end. They haven't worked anything outside the hash mark. And I think they have to get the ball out here.
McNabb gets away from one, gets it to Pinkston. One of the new outside receivers who was here last year but didn't play much. He's the fastest of all the Eagle receivers.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Donovan McNabb. I mean, you know how fast he is and how well he can run, but he's very strong. And I think that's the thing that, in fact, when we were talking to Aeneas Williams last night, he says that he works out with him. He said that his lower body, and he brought up the name of the pass, he said it's like Robert Newhouse. Robert Newhouse, the Dallas Cowboys, had those great big old legs.
And he said so is Marshall Faulk. That's Pinkston again. And Pinkston gets another first down for Philadelphia.
And Andy Reid had to be thinking the same thing that we were, that all his passes are gone to the inside. So now start working the outside. Get out here in these perimeters, and you can get something going. Dexter McCleon played that terrible. I mean, he wasn't up there, and then when he finally gets up there, he just kind of waved him on by. That's the thing. In this league today, you just can't be what they call a cover corner. You better be a tackler also.
First down, Philadelphia. McNabb drops the throw and throws it deep, incomplete. Intended again for Pinkston. But good coverage that time by the Rams secondary.
I think McNabb probably saw that good coverage. It was a double team and probably threw that one away. There are sometimes when you see something and you know that you're not going to get to it, and it's only first down, just boom, just let it fly. Just throw it right out of the joint. Now with this new defense of the Rams, they give you what they call a cover 2 shell. They're going to give you this look with the safeties deep all the time, and then they'll come up. You see what they're doing there? And they'll get into a cover 1 or a cover 3.
Staley back to the line of scrimmage, no more.
We saw that Adam Archuleta, who's the strong safety and the rookie. He was a linebacker in college, #1 draft choice, and they're making a safety out of him. And we just saw there where they start him deep, and then on running downs, they can get him up into a position where he's a linebacker. Now this will be 3rd down. He can't do it on 3rd down. He better, if you're a safety on a running down, you can play like a linebacker. But on a passing down, you better not play safety like a linebacker.
And this is the area, pass coverage, that he's got to work on.
And he better stay back there, and he is.
McNabb has it batted down by Sean Moran, I believe.
Sean Moran starting at right end for Grant Wistrom. Wistrom has a torn knee capsule. In fact, his capsule tore away from the bone. That's funny. Aeneas Williams there is his first year with the Rams. And Lovie Smith says is a complete player. In fact, he, in his first year with the Rams, is their defensive captain.
This is from 50 yards away by Akers. Plenty of leg. And it's good from 50. Akers just signed a new contract. And right now the Eagles are very happy about that. So is he. 7-3. Akers set to kick it off. Murphy back deep for the Rams. That's Cash, but there's a flag. There's a flag on the play.
And we talked about the replacement officials and not throwing a lot of penalties, but the area of football that is most penalized is always special teams. And it's always the punt and kickoff return, because you can't block below the waist and you have to block in front.
During the return, holding
Avian.
offense. The receiving team, number 54, a 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Avian Cash on the return. A penalty against the Rams. Next week, Fox NFL Sunday begins with America's #1 pregame show. As JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris get you ready for kickoff, then Brett Favre leads the Packers against Jesse Armstead and the stingy Giants defense, or Jamal Anderson and the Falcons look to shut down Marshall Faulk and these high-octane Rams in an NFC West showdown. Also, other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, here on Fox. 1st and 10 Rams.
Brett Favre and those Green Bay Packers look pretty good today.
Yeah, they did.
We had that game on in the bus before the game.
Great bus. The pass comes to Marshall Faulk. They fake the screen one way. We talked to Kurt Warner about how he plans to attack this Eagles blitzing defense.
We all know that when teams blitz us, puts a one-on-one on our receivers, and our receivers are as good as anybody at beating a one-on-one matchup or breaking a tackle and going the distance. So that's what we have to do if they decide that the key to the game is blitzing me and trying to get pressure on me, is I've got to be able to deal the ball out quickly, and then our guys have to try to make guys move.
2nd and 6. Warner back to throw it. Torrey Holt.
And so far until now, he hasn't been able to do that. He hasn't been able to get rid of the ball in a blitz because they have the free guy coming, and he got knocked down once on the blitzes so far, and he got sacked twice. And I think those are the protection things they're working on now.
That's the end of the first quarter with the score: the Rams 7, the Eagles 3. Fox NFL Sunday from Philadelphia will continue after these messages. We're at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where the Rams lead the Eagles 7-3.
There's John Welborn, Pat. He's back on the field. Remember, he injured his ankle earlier, and they took him in, and they just brought him out again. I've just been watching him down there. He's kind of trying things out. First quarter, we look at the big thing was that an Eagle turnover when they fouled up that snap, and then the Rams took it in and scored on a Marshall Faulk touchdown. And
Torrey Holt comes back to make the catch from Warner.
this is the thing that they were doing to Kurt Warner. We were talking about how they brought guys. They brought the linebacker Mike Caldwell a couple times. They brought their two corners, and they've been free, and they've had 2 sacks on Kurt Warner so far, and they've knocked him down. And those are the blitzes that they're thinking about, that they're worrying about, that they're trying to get the protection for now.
Second down. Here's Warner up the middle, deflected as it passed Brian Dawkins, I believe.
This is interesting. Watch Kurt Warner. He's going to go back and fake a 3-step drop. Then he's going to fake a draw. Then he's going to go to a 5-step drop and then try and throw the ball to his tight end.
Trotter hit it.
That is different quarterbacking, where you fake the 3-step drop, which means a quick pass or a slant. Then you fake the draw, which is a delay to the running back. Then you go back deeper and you finally throw it to your tight end, incomplete.
0 for 2 on 3rd down.
One thing about those Eagles, they always keep their safeties up tighter to the line of scrimmage.
Warner has time. Misses Faulk. He's saying he was held. No flag.
That was the guy that I was saying. That's Brian Dawkins, who the Philadelphia Eagles say is the best free safety in football, and the Rams agree with him.
The same thing.
And he was a guy that started at free safety, came up like he was playing linebacker, and then came off on that play.
Brian Mitchell and Nate Brown will field John Baker's punt. High kick. Brown retreats. At the 15 he starts. Up to the 23. Seven to 3. St. Louis.
But now look at Marshall Faulk here, Pat. Here's Brian Dawkins. This is what Marshall Faulk was complaining about. You see Dawkins grab him right there with his right arm.
But no flag, and here's McNabb. And McNabb struggles to stay on his feet. Can't make it. Sean Moran.
He stayed with him, because that was the thing we were talking about, McNabb and how strong he is. And anytime you get something like that, your defensive lineman, you're not going to come in and just get that shot, boom, and knock him down. You have to stay with him. You have to stay with your tackles. And Sean Moran did a heck of a job that time of staying with his tackles, staying with getting Donovan McNabb down.
So it's 2nd and 16.
Here's where these safeties are going to stay deep now.
McNabb drops the throw and throws it underneath to Cecil Martin.
They're working on Brian Dawkins over there. The last play we saw, we said was a good play. Then we showed it again where he kind of got his right hand out there and got a hold of some of Marshall Faulk. Marshall Faulk was complaining about it.
That must be a cramp or something.
Hey, one thing, the Eagles have a great medical staff and a great training staff, and the way they work with their players at getting them back is pretty amazing sometimes.
You forget about McNabb. Throws it down the middle, complete to Nate Brown. And Brown will get the Eagle first down.
You know, you talk about toughness and being tough, and you don't always think of that as a quarterback. When you take, when Donovan McNabb did that time, and you see him drop back and just wait and wait and wait, there aren't many quarterbacks that can wait. Now watch him wait here and hold it and hold it and hold it and step right up into that rush to make that throw. I mean, this is what a quarterback has to do. He can't look at the rush. He has to look downfield, and he has to step into his throw.
Wide outside to Pinkston, who was taken down in a hurry. No gain.
And if anyone ever questioned, I don't know if anyone does ever question if Donovan McNabb is tough or not, but on that pass just 2 plays ago, he proved that he was. When you can stand in there and throw like that.
You think about when I was playing, and after that, you ask people who's the best runner, whatever. They always say Jim Brown. This guy is bigger than the great Jim Brown.
Yeah, and look at how strong he is, and how he just stood in there and threw that ball and took that shot.
Deuce Staley, nowhere to go. London Fletcher.
Yeah, there was some question whether London Fletcher was going to be able to play this week. He had a pulled hamstring. Didn't play in the last preseason game. With a pulled hamstring, sometimes it feels pretty good, and you don't know if it's well until you try and go out all out. There's Lovie Smith, who's a defensive coordinator right there. He really does have this defense. You know, and I said earlier, I don't know if these players are a lot better, but I do know that they play a lot faster and a lot harder.
And they pursue a lot better. Here's McNabb. High over the head of Pinkston. And the Eagles one more time will have to punt. Here comes Landeta.
Isn't it something, Sean Landeta? I still think he has that same face mask he's always had, doesn't he? 17 years in this league. I don't know. I guess he's not going to hit anyone, although in
I don't think so.
Practice the other day, they had him lining up as a linebacker just to give the offense.
He didn't do much.
No, it was dummy scrimmage.
Oz Hakeem. Flag on the play as Hakeem is gone.
Say, with that speed, you're right, Pat. He is gone. Don't taunt, though. Don't taunt.
But they're going to bring it back. That flag is way back where this all began.
I mean, we talk about, special teams and getting big plays early in the season. We also talk about this Ram speed, that it's everywhere, and Oz Hakeem is part of that.
Yes, he is.
As a third wide receiver and as a punt returner.
He's probably the fastest guy they have.
The return.
That would have been 84
Holding
yards.
on the return team. A 10-yard penalty. First down.
The one thing with these replacement officials, they don't give you the number of the player, but it looked like it out here that they could have called holding at any point on that one, Pat.
Yes, they could have. Three, the Rams over the Eagles. Second quarter, 10:42 at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia.
Oz Hakeem had something going there. I mean, there was when he started on the left, when he got over to that right side of the field, about the 40, with his speed, there was a touchdown.
No way.
And if that flag hadn't been way back here at the 20, that was a done deal.
The closest Eagle was Landeta, and I don't think he's going to run him down.
And if he did, he wouldn't do anything about it.
Warner has a man wide open. Torrey Hope.
Kurt Warner was telling us last night, and that was an example of it, that he doesn't look at a receiver or throw to a receiver. He throws a spot where the receiver's going to go. And that was exactly what he did there. I mean, he threw about 10 yards away from Torrey Holt and let him go get the ball.
All kind of confusion. Matt Bowen being carted off for the Rams.
Well, as a backup safety for the Rams.
Special teams
probably got it on that special teams play where Oz Hakeem made the touchdown.
Isaac Holt split wide left. Second down. Warner retreats. Here comes the blitz again. Marshall Faulk juggled it a moment.
Yeah, now you talk about blitzing corners, and that's the thing that they do. You know, they'll bring anyone. Here it is right here. Here's Troy Vincent. Now you'll see Troy Vincent comes on a blitz, and the safety comes over here. Now you don't count that guy as a blitzer, and when he comes from the outside, he is going to come free. But that's the one that Kurt Warner was talking about, that he had to get rid of the ball before the guy got there.
Warner saw him or felt him coming and got rid of it. Third down. Long yardage. Warner quickly unloads to Torrey Holt. It's incomplete. He had to throw in a hurry.
You know, you look here with Kurt Warner, you look no blitz. He's completed 6 out of 6. Against the blitz, he's only completed 1 out of 5.
What does that tell you?
Well, that tells me that Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator of the Eagles, is going to keep calling blitzes. And until they get it straightened out, he's going to get a heavier dose of blitzing than he's had.
Bounces out of bounds at about the 32-yard line, where the Eagles will take over. It started with a lot of fireworks, and it's sort of settled down. Which shoes should be worn has never been solved. They've changed and changed. And now,
you know what they look like they're doing there? They look like they're buffing them up or something. They're, you know, kind of trying to get something off them that is probably a slippery substance.
Here's McNabb. Dumps it over to Staley. Got about 8 yards, and right now for a game break. Again, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Pat and John, you two know all too well that San Diego was last in the NFL in rushing last year. LaDainian Tomlinson looking to change that. 14 carries, 51 yards, 17-0 San Diego. Pat and John.
JB's going to beat the San Diego thing to death, isn't he?
Well, he should.
It's a sleeper team, yeah.
He doesn't get many chances to gloat. McNabb, complete. Pinkston again.
Yeah, that time they caught him in a cover 1, a man coverage, or a cover 3, not the cover 2. And you see him bailing out here on this side, and then so he has a man-to-man. So now what Donovan McNabb is doing, if he gets even with him, he's going to throw to his back shoulder. So you got a safety here, and the safety is going to come up. So he's going to be man-to-man. So if he's even with him, he wants to throw it to his back shoulder. If he's behind him, he's going to throw it over him and make him run for it. That time he threw it to his back shoulder.
27-yard completion. Here's Staley. And there is nothing there.
That's Deuce Staley's 6th carry, and I think he's gained about 4 yards in those 6 carries.
Mark Fields.
Sean Moran almost had him. It looked like someone held him. He was good. He kind of looked like he took a bite inside to something. Andy Reid has that shirt with the stripes going across. He really doesn't like that. You know, they send him that one and they make him wear that shirt. And he gave
you one.
Yeah, the same thing. He feels if I'm going to be in it, you're going to be in it too, man.
McNabb, plenty of time. Dumps it to Deuce Staley. And Staley is wrestled down inside the 30 by London Fletcher.
London Fletcher read that perfectly. You know, the thing that you have is you're going to start off in your protection on the screen as you block, then you let them go. And then you get your linemen down. You see them coming down to the right side, and then they come down there. And London Fletcher was a linebacker, and he read that screen all the way.
3rd down. About 5. The Eagles in field goal range for Akers. McNabb. Pass is intercepted. Should be Dexter McClean.
I tell you, he played that perfectly.
Did he ever?
You know, it's Dre Bly out there. But you know what these corners do now? They read the quarterback, and they read the 3-step drop. And when they see that guy go in there on a slant, They run to the point where the ball is going to be thrown rather than cover the receiver.
That was a heck of a play.
See, when Reid saw Pinkston go in on the slant, he knew where he was going, and he just undercut him.
Yep.
I mean, he started in there, and by going underneath him, he beat him to the ball.
That's some catch he made.
You know, they throw that slant pass so much that these corners are getting used to playing it.
Rams ball at their own 20. Marshall Falk. Troy Vincent pushed him out of bounds.
There's Dre Bly there. He's the third corner. Anytime you go 3 wide receivers or any passing down, or the Rams use any form of nickel, Dre Bly will be the guy that comes in. And he saw or felt or knew that slant was coming, because he really played that slant better than Pinkston ran that slant. You notice how patient Marshall Falk was. That's one of the things that he says that he works on, is to not be speed. You know, not try and think too fast, not get to the hole too quickly, but just wait for things to develop.
Timeout, St. Louis. It's his second choice timeout of the half.
Warner calls the timeout. Didn't like what he saw. Put up the T signal. They have one left. 7-3 St. Louis over Philadelphia. Barry Bonds has hit 2 today. 2 home runs. That gives him 62 on the year. He's amazing. 2nd and 3. Warner back to throw it. No blitz. There it comes. From the outside is Hugh Douglas. Around Orlando Pace.
Right, we were talking about that matchup we showed earlier, where Orlando Pace, the left tackle for the Rams, won the matchup. Now let's watch it right here. Here's Hugh Douglas right here. You see, he gets right by. He gets Orlando Pace's outside shoulder. And then once he gets even with his outside shoulder right there, then he's going to get beyond it by throwing that left arm over. And the next thing is there's Kurt Warner. This is where the Rams are having trouble right here, Pat, on this down. This is their 5th third down situation, and so far they're 0 for 4.
Warner hit by Taylor just as he was letting it go. The blitz came from the corner, and they'll have to punt again. This
Eagle defense is fired up, and these fans love their defense here in Philadelphia. And the thing that they do, here's Bobby Taylor right here, and you see he's going to come from the outside. Ricky Prohl, the wide receiver, they kept him. That's one of their protection things. They kept him in there to try and block him, and Bobby Taylor goes right past Ricky Prohl.
I don't think that's his strong point. They just missed blocking this one. Brian Mitchell fields it at the 28, and Mitchell is taken down at about the 38.
They have to go back to the drawing board on that pass protection.
This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the Yankees look to move one step closer to their 4th straight AL East title when they take on Greg Vaughn and the Devil Rays. Barry Bonds chases history, while the Giants and Dodgers try to take the lead in the NL West. It all begins with This Week in Baseball this Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific.
A long first half for Kurt Warner here. He
has.
One of those things, sometimes you know something's going to happen to you, but you're still surprised by it or shocked by it, or maybe it's the speed or quickness of it, or the different guys coming, because he knew he was going to be blitzed, but they haven't been able to handle it.
Here's Deuce Staley. A couple, maybe 3 yards. Eagles have been able to get nothing going on the ground.
Wasn't that something, Deuce Staley talking about how he rehabbed his foot? He had surgery, and then what they did is they taught him to play marbles with his feet, and then they taught him to pick up jacks with his feet. They're going no huddle here, but he was saying that he can beat anyone in marbles or jacks playing with your feet.
If you can find somebody else to play. Fumble, and the Rams have it. Picked up by Archuleta. Another fumble. And the Rams are saying we got it again. Archuleta got the first one. And here's the stack at the Eagle 30.
We have the umpire cam on. That's the umpire who's going to, he was looking down there to see who does have the ball. The Rams end up with it.
Lewis made the reception and then fumbled.
Hey, you see, he has the ball there, and it's just stripped. Adam Archuleta is going to pick it up here. He's a linebacker turned safety, and you got to put that thing away at the end. Then it's stripped from him, and watch Aeneas Williams, number 35, is going to come up and end up with it. And Williams right down there.
First down, Rams at just outside the Eagle 31 or 30. Here's Falk. No gain. Corey Simon made the stop.
Hey, this Eagle defense is something special because we know what the Ram offense is, and they are really playing tough here. They're not going to give them anything back to this side because early in the game, remember Marshall Faulk started on the right and then he ran back there to the left. They're not giving him anything. Now, once he starts back there, they're going to close that backside. Although Hugh Douglas did get up a little high on that.
That's a heck of a play by Simon.
Corey Simon is probably the best defensive lineman on this team.
Oz Hakeem to the 25. Picked up 4.
Yeah, this is always a factor in any game. If you look at any stat, to me that's always the biggest one is turnover or turnover ratio. You know, if you're going to have 3, then you better get 3. The Eagles have given up 3 and they haven't gotten any yet, and they're playing so well. I mean, their defense is just playing their guts out. I mean, their offense is playing well, but those 3 turnovers so far in this first half have killed them.
Here's Warner. This time he has time. Torrey Holt makes the reception and digs for the first down.
And that was at their first 3rd down conversion. I think they had been 0 for 6 before that one. Now the thing is, sometimes a turnover, that type of play will take something out of you, and you just watch. Now they're getting the protection under control. You see, when Kurt Warner, you know, we're talking about Kurt Warner being the most accurate passer in football, but you have to be able to have clean feet. You have to be able to step up. You have to be able to do all those things before you can put your accuracy to work.
This is the 2-minute warning. The Rams leading 7-3. 2 left in the first half. Back at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, 7-3. The Rams lead the Eagles, but the Rams in range now. Certainly for a Wilkins field goal, but they have a first down at the Eagle 18. Warner outside to his tight end Ernie Conwell.
The thing that the Rams do, we talk about their quickness and speed, but they'll come out and they'll give you shift in motion. And that time I felt that the Eagle defense never did get set. That they were a little confused. They were still pointing. They were still talking when the ball was snapped and out there.
Oz Hakeem just checked into the huddle.
That usually means this 1 to 2, 3 wide receivers.
That's Falk. Falk gets the first down, steps out of bounds. Always aware of where he is.
He still looks like he got Orlando Pace's belt. You know, like he went in there and, you know, forgot to bring his own belt and wanted to borrow one of Pace's. That thing would get around most offensive linemen in this league. But that's one of the things about Marshall Faulk, in addition to all the other things. That's a little quirk that he has, is wearing a belt about 10 sizes too big.
First and goal at the 7. To the 5 is Falk.
You at number 20 up there. We were talking about Brian Dawkins, and playing like if it's a run, he'll get up there and he'll hit you like a linebacker. If it's a pass, he has great ball awareness, but he is always going to be up wherever the ball. You see him right here. He starts here and he's reading, and he's going to read all the way. And then as he starts back, he's looking at him there. And then as he starts back, he makes that cut back with him.
2nd and goal. Warner throws, fakes a throw, gets the ball to the 2.
That's that one we saw before where he fakes the throw with a 3-step drop. And then the time before we saw him come back and fake the draw and then go back and pass. Now he fakes a pass. Boom, he goes back again, hands a delayed draw to Marshall Faulk. So they do a number of things off that. He will set on that 3-step drop and throw the slant. He will fake the slant and hand the draw. Fake the slant, fake the draw, and throw.
3rd and goal at the 2.
And this defense has been tough on 3rd down.
3 tight ends.
See, look at that shift in movement.
Touchdown. Ernie Conwell.
That's the thing that gets you is that shifting. They come out, they explode out. They had 3 receivers over on that side. They get what they call a bunch. See the 3 receivers here? They get in a bunch and they just break off, and one is just wide open. Because that's tough, especially on the goal line, because if you man it, you're going to get picked. If you zone it, you only got 1 yard to zone it.
Wilkins for the extra point with Ricky Prohl holding. High and good. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB and Terry will have scores and highlights from around the league. And the Fox Sports ticker will keep you updated with up to the second stats. 14-3 in the meantime here at the Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia.
And as I said, the defense has been playing so well for the Eagles. And remember, this one was a result of a turnover.
Both of them.
Right. Chad Lewis, caught the ball, and Kim Herring stripped him from it. Adam Archuleta picked it up. And as you said, the first one was the bad snap early in the game. So the St. Louis Rams have 14 points, but they really didn't get them on the defense. Here's that second turnover. Watch Kim Herring come in there, and he strips Chad Lewis. Now Adam Archuleta picks it up. He's going to run with it, and then he's going to fumble it, and then there's going to be a big old pile up there, and Aeneas Williams comes up with it at the end. It looked like John Wellborn had it initially, didn't it?
He certainly had a shot at it before Williams got there.
You look at this, the St. Louis offense really has no touchdowns, but they have the 14 points off the turnovers.
James Thrash.
They have 2 touchdowns, but they were both off turnovers.
Thrash is deep. Wilkins kicks, chases him back into the end zone, and he's going to bring it out. Thrash stays on his feet to the 24. Want more of the same great attitude you get from Fox Sports? Then log on to the new foxsports.com and get local information on your favorite team and the best fantasy football on the web. Hey, where else can you get John Madden? On a Cornucova in the same place. Were you in the same place?
What is it? What are we talking about?
Log on now to foxsports.com. You're at .com with her?
Yeah, at .com.
Nice going. Nice going.
Is that London Fletcher's nickname, .com?
Yes. Same place. Were you in the same place?
What is it? What are we talking about?
Log on now to foxsports.com. You're at .com with her?
Yeah, at .com.
Nice going. Nice going.
Is that London Fletcher's nickname, .com?
Yes. McNabb just kneels. The Eagles have all 3 of the timeouts, so they'll settle for 14-3.
Eagle offense really didn't get it going. They never got in sync, and the Ram offense really hasn't been in sync. And if it wasn't for those turnovers, the score could be 3-0.
Right now, let's go down to Ron Pitts.
Kurt, you guys have gotten the 14 points off turnovers. You still got the points. They've been blitzing you a lot. We counted almost 5 cornerback blitzes. Does that surprise you?
Well, we knew they were going to come in and blitz us, and they've done a nice job of it. They've attacked our schemes. Now we've just got to settle down. We've been moving the football. But, you know, we keep putting ourselves in a hole, like missing a block or them coming on a blitz and us not hitting a quick throw. We just got to settle down, concentrate, and make some plays.
All right, good luck next half.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Back up to you, Pat.
All right, Ron, thank you, and thanks to Kurt Warner. Halftime at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where the St. Louis Rams lead the Eagles 14-3. Opening day. The Rams lead is 14-3. They've taken advantage of 3 turnovers. And the result is the Rams leading by 11 points, 14-3. They recovered a fumble, bungled snap exchange between McNabb and his center. And then there was another fumble by Lewis after he caught a pass that would have been for an Eagle first down. Kaysen and Murphy back deep. As the Eagles kick off to begin half number 2. That's Kaysen. And he's got some room, but a good open field tackle brings him down. Mike Caldwell made the hit. Let's look at the first half statistics, John.
You know, the impressive thing to me was this Ram defense. I mean, Lovie Smith came in here. Last year, they only had 6 recovered fumbles all year. They've had 2 so far, and this is a big thing. I mean, that's the thing he talked about is getting turnovers, creating turnovers, and then, of course, that has led to 14 points. But, you know, as I said earlier, I'm not sure if this Ram defense is really a lot better with the players, but they're playing a lot faster, and they're playing a lot harder, and they are making things happen.
Trung Candidate in the backfield first, now lined up to his left, out right. And here's Marshall Faulk, the ball carrier.
And one of the things that if you get a heavy dose of blitz, if you look, the completed ones are the yellow ones, the incomplete are red, and interception, there's no interception, but they would be blue. But you could see that they're kind of bunched right in here in under 10 yards. I mean, Kurt Warner only threw 3 passes that were only completed 3 passes around 20 yards. And of course, part of that is the Ram offense, and a big part of that is the Eagle defense.
And they were coming on a safety blitz that time.
Because they aren't giving him time. I mean, he knows that if you're going to beat the blitz or you're going to beat the heavy pass rush, you have to get rid of the ball quickly. And if you get rid of the ball quickly, it would make sense that your receivers are not going to be deep.
It's 3rd and long, 3rd and about 8 for Kurt Warner and his Ram offensive unit.
And you can see here against the blitz, he's not as good as he is without the blitz. He's 8 for 9 when they don't blitz him.
And the question is, where are they coming from? Off the corner, looks like. Warner gets it out near a first down. Torrey Holt came down with it.
And he got rid of it before Bobby Taylor. Bobby Taylor came from that backside, so he had that slant to the outside, and he got rid of it before Bobby Taylor got there. Here's what it looks like in the backside. Here's Bobby Taylor here. You see, and that time they had Marshall Faulk come out to block him. So he knew that he had his backside protected. So then he threw the slant to his front side.
They got a first down with that completion. Warner drops again. Gets it out to Faulk. It's amazing how aware he is of where everybody else is.
You know, someone asked Marshall Faulk last night if he was healthy. And I'll just talk about that in a minute. But here, just watching Marshall Faulk, here he is. He just gets this loop out here. And watch him. He's going to make someone miss. He said sometimes he'll look at the 3rd or 4th guy and just assume that first guy is going to miss anyway.
Here comes Isaac Bruce. Trung Candidate is in the backfield now. Here's Warner back to throw, and up the middle, incomplete. intended for Falk.
That was the formation there, you know, that they got in trouble in St. Louis about. What they did is they put Trunk Candidate in there, and then they put Ernie Conwell, the tight end. So Conwell was a fullback, Candidate was a halfback, and then they used Marshall Falk as a wide receiver. They did that in practice, and a radio guy saw it, asked Mike Martz about it. He said, "How about playing Candidate and Falk together?" And Martz went crazy on him. He said, "Why don't you just telegram him our offense?" Well,
he was going to bar him from practice.
Right. Well, there was the play that we just saw. It was the one that they telegrammed.
On third down, he drops it off to Oz Hakeem, Ricky Prohl.
Yeah, that was
shuffled so many people.
That was the 4 wide receivers. They had 3 of them to this side. Ricky Prohl was the 3rd most inside, and he was just looking. The guy that was off, he was going to throw the slant to. But that's one good thing about halftimes, you know, is that's where you get a chance to kind of regroup, you know, to bring your team in, to draw things up, to make adjustments. And the Rams look thus far like they've made good adjustments.
Falk doesn't go anywhere. Grasmanis in to hit him first.
And we were talking to Marshall Falk last night, and he said, we said, when was are you healthy? And he said, let me tell you something about being healthy. He said, the last time I was healthy was before the Houston Oilers game in 1994.
That's his first year.
That was his first game. and, you know, but in that game against the Houston Oilers, that was the most rushing he's ever had in an opener. I think he rushed in that game for over 200 yards. And he said the day before that was the last time he's been healthy.
Warner gets it quickly out to Hope, who has to turn back for it, but made the catch nevertheless. Let's go down to Ron Pitts.
Had a quick injury update. Matt Bowen, the safety for the Rams, fractured 5th metatarsal in his right foot. He will not return. He got that on the called back Oz Hakeem punt return for a touchdown. Mark Fields, he got bruised ribs. He will remain in the game. Back up to you, Matt.
All right, Ron, thank you. 3rd and 3. Warner, among other things, can get rid of the ball so quickly. Here comes the reverse to Oz Hakeem, and it will be enough for a first down.
Marshall Falk in that game I was talking about, 1964, he rushed for 143 yards that day. Last day he was healthy, but I've said that all along. I said if you play 1 down of football in the National Football League, regular season football, your body will never be normal the rest of your life.
Well, I can testify to that.
No,
so can you.
And so can all your friends.
Yeah. 1st and 10. And the handoff is to Falk. And there's nothing doing. Brandon Whiting and Damon Moore.
You know, we talked about how Brian Dawkins, the free safety, gets up in the line of scrimmage. Damon Moore, the strong safety, also does. It's not always Dawkins that they bring up. They can bring up either guy. And of course, when you bring up that safety, then that's what's going to do is that gives you that 8th man up. You see, Dawkins is coming back here, and we'll see Damon Moore. He's going to come up on the other side. See, he was out there. So he was up on the line of scrimmage on the left side.
Warner goes deep. Incomplete. Good play by Troy Vincent.
Isn't that
it for Oz Hakeem?
I was just going to say, Troy Vincent is really something. Here he was on Thursday in practice. He hyperextends his knee, works out last night just to test it, missed practice on Friday, and then comes in and plays like he has today. I mean, I don't know how they do it. I mean, I don't know how you hyperextend the knee. In fact, he still doesn't have full extension.
No, he doesn't.
Right knee. 10th season, I'll tell you, he is one tough guy.
Rams are 3 for 3 on 3rd down on this drive. They didn't have much success in the first half.
I think that's part of the adjustments at halftime we talked about.
It's 3rd and 13 this time. And again, Warner calls a timeout.
Now that's the 3rd time that he's called timeout today in a non-timeout situation.
Right.
You know, sometimes
because of the Eagle defense and their alignment.
The Eagle defense, I think it's the crowd noise. I think another thing these teams don't play enough in preseason anymore. And even Mike Martz was saying that. He said, you know, as an assistant coach, he said you want your guys in there and you want to work them and try out things. He said then you get to be a head coach. You want to protect them. You don't want to get anyone hurt. And I think that sometimes that's part of it, too.
And Warner and Falk hardly played at all. Here's Warner, steps up in the pocket, fires complete.
And you know, when you can use those words, steps up in the pocket and fires, it's going to be complete. When you give him time like this, that's the big thing. And we talked about, you know, pressure and what pressure is. This is a three-man rush. They went to a three-man line, and look as he steps up here. Look at the time that he has. And he looked at about 4 different receivers on that play. Here's what it looks like from the umpire cam, and you see the three-man line. They can triple the old nose tackle. They just knocked Grosmanis out of there, and that gives them not only the step up, but a big passing lane.
Another Ram timeout.
What are they doing?
I don't know. That was from the USS Olympia.
I think it's about time to go to Isaac Bruce. Torrey Holt has caught 7 passes. Isaac Bruce has only caught 1.
Warner drops it quick out to Ernie Conwell. Conwell gets it down inside the 10 to about the 6 or 7 yard line.
And I think they had
to get him down.
No, they had Conwell on the out, and they had Holt. They had. You watch him here. See, he's just going to come on what they call an arrow, and again they get the blitz. Damon Moore, the strong safety, was coming. So the strong safety and a man coverage is usually the guy that covers the tight end. So I think when he sees the strong safety coming, his hot receiver becomes the tight end. In that case, it was Ernie Conwell.
Warner outside of Falk. Falk is out of bounds at about the 3 by Carlos Emmons, and Falk is still down.
You know, he's had a bad knee. Remember, he injured his knee last year during the season.
He's had 2 operations.
Right, had surgery on it. Didn't play an awful lot during the preseason. It looked like he was just pulled down awkwardly here. In fact, I think he slips after that. I think he right there. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. You see his left foot there. It wasn't part of the tackle. Watch his left foot right here as he comes down on it. That kind of
more like an ankle than a knee.
Well, you know what it did? It looked like it went all the way up his leg.
Yep. Here he comes out.
He's going out. It looked like he was going to stay in there, but I think if I were coaching the Rams, I would bring him out too, just to take a look at him.
Trung candidate replaces him.
Marshall Falk is way too valuable to mess with, to not be sure that he's okay.
The Rams have had the ball this whole 3rd quarter. That's Trung candidate spinning to about the 1.5. Mike Caldwell made the stop. Here comes Marshall Falk. Strolling back in.
Yeah, it was just what we talked about. I think they probably got a little scared it was over. You know, the injury occurred over on the other side of the field, and they just wanted to check to see if he was okay.
Falk scored the first Ram touchdown.
You know, here's Kurt Warner back here. It looks like he's going to wait and call a timeout. He's standing back there with the referee. He's going to let the play clock run down and then call a timeout. Like usually you do those things at the end of the time, at the end of the half, the end of the game.
Rams only have 1 timeout remaining. 14-3, they lead it. With America's #1 pregame show, as JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris get you ready for kickoff, then Brett Favre leads the Packers against the Giants defense. Or Jamal Anderson and the Falcons look to shut down Marshall Falk and these high-octane Rams in an NFC West showdown. Or other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific here on Fox. 3rd down.
This is the 16th play, Pat, of this drive.
Here's Warner. In Incomplete, intended for Oz Hakeem.
They're trying to get a penalty call here. You know, they've only called 5 penalties so far in this game. They've all been against the Rams. They haven't called 1 penalty yet against the Eagles. This is what it looks like here from that ump cam. You can see what those linemen go through. You know, you not only have to block your guy, but you better duck when that ball comes zooming by you. That's not only the lineman, but that's more important for the umpire. That was a good third down defense there.
Jeff Wilkins from 20 yards away to try to make it 17-3. He didn't miss all of last year. And that streak continues. 17-3 with 7 minutes left in the third quarter. The Rams kept it 8 minutes. With John Madden at Veterans Stadium, where the Rams lead the Eagles 17-3. Jeff Wilkins set to kick it off. And back deep, Brian Mitchell, Damian Douglas. Wilkins, a very strong leg. This one he lines in the direction of Mitchell, who takes it inside the 5 with some room. Brian Mitchell to the 45.
I don't know if Wilkins gave a hit or took a hit on that.
I think he took one.
But it was Jeff Wilkins that made the play.
43-yard return by Brian Mitchell. Stadium, and that's the Eagles' new practice facility just across the street. And believe me, it is something to behold. I've never seen so much room. It is very nice.
Yeah, Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Eagles, spared no expense on that deal in the city of Philadelphia. Whoever else put in the money, but that is something special.
McNabb to Cecil Martin, who dropped it. McNabb has been content, or has stayed in the pocket, and they're not going to beat a lot of teams if he stays in the pocket.
No, he's going to have to start making some plays, and he has. I mean, you know, they had the fumble, and then he completed a pass, and it was fumbled, and they just haven't been consistent.
Here he is back to throw, and taken down by Tyoka Jackson.
Tyoka Jackson came on a line stunt, you know, where two defensive linemen cross. And you'll see it here where they start and they're going to cross, and then one comes free. See, they start up the field, then they cross right here. And then as he came underneath, he started the outside and then came underneath. And as he broke underneath on that twist stunt, then he became free.
3rd and 19. That Eagle offensive line that was together all of last year has 2 members gone now. 2 backups. Pass incomplete. Flag on the play is knocked down by Trey Bly. Good play. No flag. I beg your pardon.
Now the fans are starting to boo now, because you know that's a tough thing when the Rams come out and they control the ball for about 7 minutes, and they go all the way down and score, and then your offense goes out there and they come 3 and out.
Yep.
These fans came here to get excited, to get rowdy, to let it all go, and they haven't been able to let it go.
That puts a lot of heat on the defense. Good kick by Landeta. Oz Hakeem fumbles it, picked it up, and gets it back to the 19. Barry Gardner was the first Eagle down. (17-3) Rams lead. Donovan McNabb has done very little. Kurt Warner is 18 out of 27. And the Rams lead at 17-3.
Isaac Bruce has still only caught 1 pass.
Back to Falk. Let's go down to Ron Pitts now.
Well, Pat, frustration starting to set in on the Eagles sideline, as you might expect. Just a few minutes ago, Coach Andy Reid walked over to the offensive line and said, hey, listen, we know our assignments. You know what to do. Now let's get it going and get it done. Pat?
That's a good assignment. But getting it done is something else.
Yeah, that has to be. I mean, that's part of it. Andy Reid's a heck of a coach, and he's really built a program here, and this Eagle team is going in the right direction.
This is Marshall Faulk. And that's what happens. An 8-minute drive and the defense right back out on the field. They start to wear down.
That's right. You know, part of it is the offense wearing them down, and the other part of it, as you said, not getting any rest. And here's what Marshall Faulk can do. This is what he talks about, patience. You know, that this is a play that was going to the right side of the offensive line. He cuts it back to the left side, looks ahead, thinks about the next guy, and starts making a move on him. But he has patience. You see this? He's not running full speed. But he's looking, he has the vision, he's looking beyond the guy. So he's not looking at that guy that's going to tackle him there. He said he sees colors flash in front of him. And then runs away from flashing colors.
Trump candidate replaced him. This is Jeff Robinson, another of the Ram tight ends.
You know, they've caught quite a few passes themselves today. I think Conwell has like 4 passes, Robinson 1. That's 5 or 6 balls to the tight end, and that hasn't been a big part of this Ram offense. You know, it's usually the receivers and the running back.
When you get blitzed a lot, the tight end becomes more than a factor. The Eagles certainly did that.
There's a defense over there having one of those meetings with Lovie Smith, their defensive coordinator, who has done an outstanding job. I mean, he came from Tampa Bay, installed that defense, and he's making a believer out of me.
Faulk is back in the game, and Warner throws it back to him on the screen pass. He's got 3 blockers in front. And Marshall Faulk picks his way down to 28.
They've been setting that thing up all day, you know, where you fake like a waggle, like he's going to go to the outside. Watch, where Faulk is going to come, and he's going to block here, and then he's going to fall down and then get up, and then you see Kurt Warner come and then fake and then go out to that side and then throw back. But watch Marshall Faulk here. He makes the block, goes down, then gets up, and then comes back and runs that screen. That was set up perfectly.
Faulk blocked Hugh Douglas before he went out and caught the screen pass.
Yeah, and that's the other, you talk about Marshall Faulk running and Marshall Faulk, catching passes, but he's also an excellent blocker.
Warner pass is caught by Jeff Robinson again, another by the tight ends. That's 6.
Jeff Robinson, you remember this guy? I remember Jeff Robinson when he was a defensive lineman.
Yes.
And then he kind of got a new career as a long snapper. Then they moved him to offense. I think it was Dick Vermeil moved him to offense.
That's
exactly
and he's a tight
end. And about once or twice a year, he'll always catch, down, because they play 2 tight ends down the goal line, he'll always catch a big touchdown in a game.
It's 1st and goal at the 9. And the Rams trying to put him away. Faulk grabbed around the ankles by Hollis Thomas and leaned for a yard or so.
Yeah, this Eagle defense, they played so well in the first half, and as you said, they're starting to get worn down. Although Hollis Thomas was a one guy on that play that did get penetration.
They try to rotate the defensive linemen and keep them fresh, but when you stay out there that long, you just haven't got enough people.
Well, and you keep doing it. And there's Jim Johnson, and Jim Johnson's going to keep pressuring. I mean, he's not going to let up. He's going to keep bringing heat to this Ram offense.
2nd goal at the 8. Warner get the rebound. And the Eagles did get the rebound. Troy Vincent came up with it.
Well, the defense gave them some life right here, and now the offense has to come in and do something about it.
Got to get off the goal line and keep the ball for a while and give them a break.
This is the thing. You're going to see there's a lot of ways to get pressure. There's pressure in sacking the quarterback. There's pressure in just getting in front of him and then making him make a bad throw. That was a pretty good throw. I mean,
yeah, it was.
When you get your hands too close to your body, a lot of times it's going to go off your shoulder pads. That's exactly what happened, and Troy Vincent was there to get it.
Eagle ball at their own 2. 1st and 10. McNabb pump fakes. Pinkston out of the shadow of the goal line, gets out to the 28.
That's what you just said they had to do. They had to get the ball out off the goal line, then they have to get it out here, and now they have to run some time off the clock and score. See here, Pinkston gave him a double move. You see, he faked that slant because they knew earlier that the Rams were playing that slant.
They intercepted it.
He came back and he faked the slant and then went up.
First down, Philadelphia. McNabb gives to Staley. Not much. Gets outside the 30. Jeff Scanina made the stop.
Jeff Scanina is one of the biggest guys I've ever seen, and Troy Vincent is having a heck of a day. I mean, the plays that he's making, we saw him make run for us. We saw him run deep on that up and knock the ball down. And we see him get the interception here. And just less than 24 hours ago, they weren't even sure if he was going to be playing.
Right. McNabb throws low, intended for James Thrash.
I was talking about Jeff Scanina. He is one of the biggest guys that I've ever seen.
His ankles look like they grew out of the ground.
I mean, well, look at his arms. I mean, they're pretty big too.
Yeah.
And then those legs and calves. I mean, I think he has the biggest calves on a man in the National Football League. And as you say, those ankles, I mean, his ankles are like 28, 28 inches around. I mean, he is a big guy, and John Welborn is back in there at left guard, and Scanino is the guy who's getting a little push in there on John Welborn.
Big third down for the Eagles here. Here's McNabb, chased out of the pocket. Pass complete to his tight end, Lewis, and that gets him a first down.
I'll tell you, the Rams are hitting out there, and they're trying to knock that ball out of there, but Lewis held on to that one. Here's what McNabb has to do. I mean, sometimes when you don't have all your protection, you don't have a lot of things going, you have to make something happen, and McNabb does exactly that. And that's a tough throw, running to your right and then throwing back across your body.
And London Fletcher almost got it, or got a hand on it at least.
Well, you know that's the thing that they tried to do. I mean, they did it earlier, but Chad Lewis wasn't going to have that one knocked out at all.
10 seconds left to play in the third quarter, and a timeout called by the Eagles.
You want to get one more play going in that direction.
Doesn't seem to be that much wind that it would be that important. But maybe they just like that direction.
Well, after you get a first down, you just want to make sure that you have everything together. And remember, this is a first regular season game, and again, I don't think they play enough in preseason anymore to really be ready to play games in the regular season. And I think we've seen that quite a bit today. I mean, this is a well-played game, a very good coaches, two good teams. But you can see what happens when you don't play games in the preseason, or you don't play very much. Then you have to come and play a whole game. You're really adjusting as you go.
It's not a matter of being in shape. They're all in shape all the time. But it's a matter of staying away from the possibility of an injury. And do you take that chance, or do you come into it stale?
I would rather come into it ready to play.
I would too. McNabb has lots of time. Steps out of bounds.
Oh, he should never do that. I mean, the rule in football is once he gets beyond the tight end, he can throw it away. So instead of by stepping out of bounds there, he just lost about 7 yards. Yep. If he would have just thrown the ball away, which is legal now, then he would have picked up 7. But that was a play where he lost his team 7 yards by stepping out of bounds, because when you get outside the tight end area, you do get a freedom to throw the ball away.
London Fletcher chased him out of bounds. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. The Rams 17, the Eagles 3. Fox NFL Sunday from Philadelphia will continue after a word from your local Fox station.
Carry that around all year, and
you do?
I thought I had like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces, and then all I see is, because we should be covering up these ugly things here that we got out there, but But opening day is great, and it should be more festive in this. I mean, they have a little bunting, but it's really bad. I mean, to be honest with you, baseball has great bunting. We have bad bunting.
That was pretty light bunting we had there for our booth.
Well, it was one piece because I had a whole bunch. I don't know where. I think Willie probably used it as a rag to
You carry that with you. There's some NFL bunting.
Yeah, that's phony bunting, though. That's not good. I mean, like you ought to have. See what happens is there's too many gaps in it. It ought to be filled with bunting, and there ought to be music and bands and people dancing, and
it ought to be flapping in the wind at least.
Yeah, and then people in tuxedos and parties and and all that stuff. We'll get there. I mean, we're starting here. We got a little bunting here, a little few things around.
You're just going to have to travel more.
And this, I'm going to. And this crowd would be a lot more exciting if the Eagles were ahead.
Here's McNabb. And he's out of the pocket, and he's got a first down. Hit out of bounds, and maybe I said too early he's got a first down. He's close.
One thing that Lovie Smith, the defensive coordinator of the Rams, said is, we don't worry about a pass rush on Donovan McNabb. All we want to do is contain him, keep him in the pocket, not let him get to the outside, make him beat us with his arm. Of course, that's easy to say, but he's as big as some of the guys they're trying to contain him, and he's a lot faster. And he can just, you can contain. In fact, it looked like Sean Moran was offsides up on top. You can contain him and all that, but he just runs faster than you do. Sometimes he's stronger. Now remember, when he goes out of bounds, it's where the ball is when his foot goes out of bounds. It's not where his foot goes out of bounds.
And they're going to measure. That's not that much.
That's 3 lengths and a thing.
It's about a good piece of bunting they have left.
I think with Donovan McNabb and being as strong as he is, this is probably what Lovie Smith is saying right now.
Got to go for it. Huh?
Oh yeah, you have to go for it, but I think you have to let Donovan McNabb go for it. As strong as he is and as good as he is, I think just a couple inches. There's going to be a bubble in there. There's going to be a soft spot. The Rams will play some form of short yardage or goal line defense, but in every short yardage or goal line defense, there is a bubble, although it be a little bubble, but there'll be a little bubble or soft spot, and I would think Donovan McNabb would just take the ball and then try and find and hit that soft spot.
They have about a foot. Jeff Scanina is anchored right in the middle, and they're not going to move him back much.
You have to go to the outside of these 2 guys. You have to get outside of the 2 guys in the middle.
McNabb.
Like that. That's it. He got it.
Struggling. Lovie Smith on the far side of the field says he didn't get it, but the officials mark it so that he did.
Yeah, he got it. All you have to do, again, is you just have to get that ball over that line. Remember, it's the same thing as going out of bounds or going the goal line. Is where the ball is. You see, right now the ball is a first down already. You see, he is so big and strong, and his legs are so strong. He's not going to get knocked back. He has it right there.
Yep. The whole stack is moving back to Deuce Staley, and he's tripped up in the backfield. They just got nothing going running.
Let's look at Donovan McNabb's passing chart. You can see again the complete ones are the yellow ones, and he has 16 completions, and most of them were kind of bunched up here in this middle under 20 yards. He's only completed 2 passes over 20 yards, and again, most of his stuff has been from the line of scrimmage to the 20-yard line and inside. James Thrash, the starting wide receiver, has yet to catch a pass.
2nd and 12. Here's McNabb. Dumps it up to Staley, and right now for a game break, let's return you again to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Pat and John, Jeff George was pulled because of ineffectiveness. Tony Banks comes in. They stay on the ground and get it to the goal line, but Stephen Davis fumbles it. San Diego recovers. San Diego fumbles, so Washington kicks a field goal. Washington still trailing by 17 and the 4. Back to Pat and John.
How come the only updates we see involve San Diego?
I think there's only 2 other games being played, and like I said, JB's proud of himself about that Charger call.
Staley goes in motion. McNabb goes back to throw. A lot of time. Incomplete.
These officials aren't going to call this. This is one
Lewis,
thing.
the intended receiver.
I think about these replacement officials. They're not going to call many penalties. And I don't know that they're going to call anything downfield. I don't know that they're going to call many pass interference calls.
Well, they haven't yet.
You know, one thing about Donovan McNabb, he always has a smile on his face. I mean, here they are down in the middle of the game. He needs some big plays, and in the middle of ball play, he just smiles.
I don't know if that was a smile or not.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, he has that look a lot.
A grimace. Pass is caught by Pinkston, and he's slung out of bounds.
You know,
That'll get the first.
There's not a lot to Pinkston. He only weighs about 170 pounds, and that's why he can be slung. You said, I mean, if you're a big old wide receiver, they can't slung you. But here, no, I mean, not only does he sling them out of bounds, but he holds them all the way down there, and then he slings them. But again, it all starts right here. Good pass protection. See, you give Donovan McNabb, you see, he was looking to his left, then he came back to his middle, and then he zipped it out there to the right to Todd Pinkston.
And they got the first down. He fakes to Staley. Pass complete to Thrash. Close to another first.
They picked up James Thrash from the Washington Redskins. That's the first pass that he's caught as a Redskin. Here he is. You see him right here. He's in the slot. Again, he's a bigger guy, and he just pushes and pushes and pushes, and then breaks off. In fact, both of those last two passes were against Dexter McLean. Now, the Ram defense is not a blitzing defense. They've only blitzed 7 times out of 34 passes.
Mitchell has replaced Pinkston, their #1 draft choice. Here's McNabb outside. Chad Lewis gets it down inside the 5.
You see a drive like this, you say, why in the heck did they do that the whole game? Because it takes time. I mean, it takes time to get a rhythm. It takes time to figure out what they're doing, to get the speed, to get all those things together. And the Eagles are starting on that roll right now. This time McNabb is looking all the way. I mean, he knows exactly where he's going to go with the ball, and he watched Chad Lewis all the way.
This drive started, remember, at their own 2-yard line.
About right close to the position they are now, because they were going the other way.
Here's McNabb. Threw in the direction of Staley, but just threw it away because it was well covered.
Yeah, I think on that one he had a two-way go. He had a receiver deep, but Staley on a loop. The receiver that was deep was covered, and then Staley was also. And again, it's first down in this situation. Just don't do something dumb, so he threw it away.
I got a feeling this is about the time for McNabb to take off.
Well, he hasn't done it so far.
One time. Changing, maybe. Shuttle pass to Deuce Staley, who stumbled or slipped and got it up to about the 1.
That play would have had a chance, I think, if Staley doesn't slip.
Yep.
An interesting thing, watch Staley here. You see if McNabb goes beyond him, you pull John Welborn, the guard, he's out in front. Oh, yeah, that's there. That's a touchdown.
Yep.
Deuce Staley slips. I mean, the hole was there. They pulled their left guard, John Welborn. He pulls around, and that was a big, wide old hole there. Deuce Staley slips.
3rd and goal. There's 3 out of 11 on 3rd down. Thomason in motion. McNabb. Incomplete. Thomason had it and lost it. Bounced out of his hands when he hit the ground.
And I think this is a situation you say, do they go for it on 4th down?
Oh, yeah.
We're in the 4th quarter. They need 2 touchdowns. Oh, he had that ball.
Yes, he did.
I mean, if he just held on to that another split second, that would have been a touchdown because he would have had control of the ball in the end zone. They're going to take a timeout here, I think, and get this one talked over.
This one, they need to get in. This is their second timeout. So both teams, St. Louis and Philadelphia, each have one left. McNabb brings him up. He broke the plane.
The official didn't signal. He's stopping the clock. That means it's not a touchdown. He started waving his arm, so that's going to be the Rams' ball. Some of the Eagles are standing out there like they get another shot. You don't get another shot. Again, he was open quickly. I think he could have thrown it right now.
Yep.
Been better. See, he's a little late with it, and it's a little behind. See, now, again,
it is very close.
It's not the foot, it's the ball, and it looks like the ball. I think this should be challenged.
I think it is. Andy Reid is out on the field. It is challenged.
Yeah, he has to challenge this one. Because remember, it's where the ball is. If the ball breaks the plane, and Andy Reid threw that red flag out there, that means challenge. This is going to be interesting.
Cecil Martin had the ball.
Donovan McNabb was looking at the big screen. He was watching it.
Philadelphia has challenged the field on the play in the field. They believe it is a touchdown.
The referee is Al Hines.
Al Hines has never been an official in the National Football League. He is a supervisor in the league office.
He's been in the league office for about 6 years.
Okay, now this lens is right on the goal line.
Martin hit by Williams right here.
So again, and right there, again, all it has to do is break the plane.
That looked like a touchdown from here.
That looks like a touchdown. Yeah, that looks like he did have control with the ball breaking the plane. That's the most definitive angle, and that's the problem with it, because remember, it has to be, what's that word?
Indisputable?
Yeah, indisputable. The evidence has to be indisputable. So as Al Hines looks at this, if there's any doubt in his mind, it has to be not a touchdown. But again, all the rule is the football has to break the plane.
The ball.
And the player has to have control of it.
Here's McNabb.
Again, the pass was a little behind him.
Behind Martin.
You can't see the ball there, but you have to assume, and I think that's the thing that's going to be tough.
Right under his right arm.
This one here will be
right
good.
There,
yeah, that one there. Now, at that point, it looked like the ball did cross the goal line.
Saw it cross that plane. Just imagine a pane of glass coming up from the goal line. And if you touch it, that's touchdown.
Yeah, I think that last one, well, he's going to talk. No, he doesn't know exactly what he's going to do. See, now he's talking to the guy, he's talking to the guys up above. Now he's going to say something. This is big.
This is indeed big, and he'll let us know. We saw that Andy Reid was 0 for 2 on challenges last year.
After reviewing the field on the play on the field, it is a touchdown.
Whoa!
That was a tough one to call, because you could go either way on that. I mean, it looked like that ball did break the plane, but if you could say that I really couldn't tell, you could say that too. Now, on that drive, the Eagles went for it on 4th down.
This one to Pinkston.
They went for it 3 times on 4th down. That's what I meant.
And then just now for the touchdown.
Well, that brought this crowd back into it.
That one is going to be replayed and replayed and replayed by a lot of different people.
Yeah, more in St. Louis than any place else, too.
Akers' extra point is good, and it's 17-10.
Because that old thing called momentum is very, very strong.
Yep. Wow.
Yes. We got a football game here now, don't we?
Do we ever? And the crowd loves it. Baker's kick is going to be short. Handled by Kaysen. And down he goes just shy of the 30. This fall, baseball's postseason unfolds right here on Fox. First 8 of baseball's best battle it out in the American and National League Division Series on both Fox and Fox Family. Then follow the drama of the ALCS, the NLCS, all the way to the crowning of the 2001 World Series champion as baseball's postseason airs exclusively right here on the Fox Network. Be a part of history as baseball's postseason comes to Fox beginning October the 2nd. Douglas is the injured Eagle, Damian Douglas.
Damian Douglas, my old buddy from the Oakland Bay area.
Yeah, you talked with him yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Practice Friday.
All the time. Yeah, I've known him for a long time. In fact, I was at a banquet where he was the Bay Area Hall of Fame Player of the Year, College Player of the Year at the University of California. Really a good guy. He really is.
For a game break again, while we have a chance, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Pat and John, you mentioned the Bay Area. We'll take a look at this Bay Area play. Jeff Garcia hooking up with J.J. Stokes to bring San Francisco within 3, 13-10, 5:18 left in the fourth. And John, Howie said he wanted to see more balance in the plays. The highlights being shown. There it is. Back to you guys.
Now, Howie wants what now? More balance?
He wants more balance in the highlights, yeah.
9:52 left as Kurt Warner fakes to Falk, throws upfield, pass caught by Isaac Bruce. The Rams move across midfield.
That's only the second catch of Isaac Bruce today, but again, we talked about the momentum and how the Eagles seemed to get it, and then the Rams just took it right away from them on that play.
Yep.
And again, good pass protection by the offensive line, and Kurt Warner had time. Look at this. Isaac Cole caught 7 passes, Falk 5, Conwell 4, Robinson 2, so that's 6 for the tight end. And again, Isaac Bruce only 2. That one there being the second.
But Warner does like to spread it around. Fake. Oh, that could have been a fumble. If it wasn't.
That was the thing. That was the thing that they've been doing all day today. You know, where they would fake the slant, and they needed a hand to fake the draw, and they'd run that a couple of times too many. Now here it's going to be a draw play. He's going to try and get it to Marshall Falk, but we see Caldwell just comes free, and Caldwell gets there about the same time as Falk does, and Warner does, and the ball does.
If that's not Falk, there's a good chance that's a fumble. But he doesn't fumble. Pass is deflected at the line of scrimmage by the hard-charging Simon.
Rory Simon is pumped up. He's one of those defensive tackles that plays the run well and is also a pass rusher. There's a lot of guys that just play the run well at defensive tackles, but here's one that will get you a pass rush. You see that move that he makes there? Then he has a little double team, then you get right in front of the quarterback and get your hands up.
Third down. And long for the Rams.
That's what defensive linemen can do, is take passing lanes away from quarterbacks.
And if you don't get to the quarterback, then that's what you're supposed to do. Get your hands up.
Yep, and they forced another timeout here by the Rams.
8:28 left to play. The Rams 17, the Eagles 10. Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Long.
Look at that pylon is still down there, Pat. That's the one that Cecil Martin hit. They never picked it up after that play.
We got to get the pylons upright.
Especially if the Eagles get the ball again going that way.
Here's Warner back to throw it. And going deep, and he's got a man open, but he's out of bounds. Isaac, Torrey Holt made the reception. Good throw from Kurt Warner, but I don't guess you can say that's a good throw. It's out of bounds.
Yeah, but it was Torrey Holt's fault, because Torrey Holt, the official threw his cap down there, which meant he went out of bounds. He went out of bounds even before he went out of bounds to catch the ball. You see what you have to do is you have to give your quarterback room to the sideline. You can't be.
Yep,
you can't be.
the cap.
See, here's the cap. In other words, he's saying that he's already out of bounds.
That's Brian Mitchell. And Mitchell gets to the 31 before he's taken down by the Ram coverage. 8 minutes, 11 seconds left. Eagles ball at their own 31. London Fletcher.
That was before the game, and now is the time that they need it. But, you know, he threw his hat down so hard that like 5 pieces came out. It took him like 10 minutes to put his helmet back together after
He missed
that.
part of the warm-up because of that. Here's McNabb. McNabb gets it to Staley with blockers in front. Staley has an Eagle first down to the 48. Flag on the play. A penalty down.
I'll tell you, he really got a good block out there. I think it was his left guard, John Wellborn. I mean, he timed that thing up perfectly.
But this is going to be holding against Philadelphia.
Number 85, offensive holding, a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
Nay Brown.
First down.
Is number 85.
Nay Brown is a third wide receiver. But the block that I'm talking about is this one right here. Watch this on London Fletcher. We just saw how excited he was going to be. He wasn't going to be that excited to have that happen to him.
He certainly won't be excited that we played it back.
That was Jermaine Mayberry who did that, the right guard. I saw that, and I saw London Fletcher go, and the next thing I saw was all his cleats come right out of the ground, and he was on his back.
Still first down. Out to Pinkston. Shakes one tackler. Pinkston close to midfield. Fields and Kim Herring brought him down, but he got an Eagle first.
Now they're starting to get to this Ram defense, and as you look, this has been a tough quarter for the last couple of years for the Rams defense. 54 points allowed in 1999, or last year it was. 2,144 points allowed, which was the worst in the NFL. That's points allowed in the fourth quarter. That's why Lovie Smith is here to coach this defense.
Clock running less than 7 minutes now. McNabb fakes, stands back in the pocket, has Staley open. Staley for about 8.
Yeah, after they got that instant replay, that change when they got that play reversed, you could just feel the momentum change then, couldn't you? You could just feel a little of the wind come out of the Rams, and a little wind go into the Philadelphia Eagles, and a whole lot of wind to go back into this crowd in Philadelphia.
Deus Williams having his wrist taped. They need him in the lineup on the field. Second down, 1.5 yards. McNabb. Cecil Martin, the fullback, and there's a flag. Face mask, maybe?
It's that area. It's that deep official, and he's usually watching the tight end. So it's usually something that's in the middle.
Yeah, it's the Rams.
Looks like a young guy, doesn't he? Old number 165. You want the play.
Number 165?
Yeah, well, old 165 looked like a young'un. Look at him.
Does,
Look
yeah.
at 165. I think he's 17 years old.
Going to pass, number 58 on the defense. That
That's
penalty
Rich
is declined.
Wilburn.
First down.
Who went to community college.
Yeah, he just got out of community college. That penalty was on Don Davis, and usually that's the official at 165. He's the guy that keys the tight end. And Don Davis is the strong side linebacker on the tight end, and that's what he was watching.
First down, Eagles at the Ram 34. Here's McNabb. Fakes throwing. Throws incomplete. soared over the head of Chad Lewis.
He had Chad Lewis the first time.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, the fake, if he would have let it go on the fake, I think he would have had a completion. Look at this quarter here. The Rams have had the ball a minute and 50 seconds. The Eagles 7 minutes and 4 seconds. Rams have only had 4 plays, and the Eagles have had 18.
The third quarter would be just about the reverse of that.
Of course, what they need here now is a touchdown.
2nd and 10.
You know, you could go a field goal, try and get the ball back, but you only have 1 timeout, so that would be tough. They have to be thinking in terms of touchdown.
Lewis was the man in motion. McNabb has time. Now he comes out of the pocket, keeps it, and out of bounds.
You know, that's the one advantage your quarterback has running the ball with the ball in his hand. He can always fake. You know, a running back can't do it, or a wide receiver can't fake like he's going to pass. But the quarterback, when he's out in the open field, no matter where he is, if you just fake like you're going to throw it, the guy will always jump up. Always had. Now watch how you freeze the defender if you have the ball. You just go like this, like you're going to throw it. Boom. And that just slows the guy up enough so that you can get around him. And it always has. I mean, that goes back 50 years. If a guy goes like that, you'll always stop for
Since
free.
the game has been played.
How many years is that?
I don't know.
Well, however many years that is.
Here's McNabb again. Nay Brown down to the 10. Dexter McLean.
All right, Nate Brown came across there, and he was wide open. Again, this offensive line now is doing a great job of pass protection. Watch the time here. See the time, the good pass protection, they're trying the stunts. Nate Brown comes on a cross against the zone, and he is wide open. He gets past that one guy, and at this point from now on, there's not anyone within 10 yards of him.
He's in the picture by himself now. McLean from behind at the 10, just outside the 10. They can make a first down without scoring.
Andy Reid says Nate Brown has the best hands in the team. Look at this. They got 3 wide receivers out here, 2 here empty, and timeout.
And that's their last one. Neither team has a timeout left. 4:45 left to play.
That was going to be an interesting formation. That was going to be a quarterback draw.
Next week, Fox NFL Sunday begins with America's #1 pregame show as JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris get you ready for kickoff. Then Brett Favre leads the Packers against the Giants, where John and I'll be. Jamal Anderson and the Falcons look to shut down Marshall Faulk and these high-octane Rams in an NFC West showdown or other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Fox.
Donovan McNabb has attempted 42 passes already.
42?
Yeah, completed 27, 277 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. And again, I think that last formation, they had empty backfield, 3 wide receivers to the right, 2 receivers to the left. I think they were probably setting up a quarterback draw. But they're not empty now.
Nope. 1st and 10. McNabb.
But it's a quarterback draw.
Quarterback draw to the 8.
I think that's what they had in mind to play before when they took timeout. And with empty, it's a little easier because if you put 5 receivers and spread them out, then the defense has to spread out with them, and that usually opens the middle. But I think when you're playing against Donovan McNabb, one of the priorities of your defense is the quarterback draw.
2nd and 7. And the clock moving at 4:12 left to play. It's the Rams leading 17-10. Thrash, the man on the move. Touchdown, Cecil Martin.
Cecil Martin, my guy, 2 touchdowns.
2 today.
That was the old bootleg. Fake one way, go the other way, and throw to the crossing receiver.
Akers to tie it up. The Rams will get the ball back with 3:59 left.
Here's a bootleg. You see He comes out there to the right side. Cecil Martin crossing to the right. And when he got that thing, he really smelled that goal line.
He scored both the touchdowns. It is 17-17, and what better than overtime on opening day?
On opening day, man, we got bunting, and then we have a smell of overtime. Although the Rams would say are the most explosive team in the NFL, and they still have 3 minutes 59 seconds. So it's just the way the game started. It's that Ram offense against this Eagle defense, and what a guy this Cecil Martin is.
And neither team has a timeout left.
You fake one way, you bootleg out. Gives a little jump pass that one time to Cecil Martin. You know, Cecil Martin was recruited to go to the University of Wisconsin, and when he was recruited, he was living in a homeless shelter with his mother.
I knew that.
And and you talk about stories of guys that do it the hard way and come out of a homeless shelter and go to the University of Wisconsin, and now to the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's one of the real good guys in this league, and one of the community people, and people that give back to the community.
Those are the first 2 touchdowns of his career. How about that?
Yeah, well, if you're going to save him, if you're going to have him, this isn't a bad time to do it.
Andy Reid, you remember last year, opening day against Dallas? Onside kick.
First play, onside kick.
He'll have some surprises for you. I'm not saying onside kick here.
He doesn't have an onside kick in today's game plan.
This one hangs up from Akers to Kaysen. And Kaysen heads to the outside and is taken down. A fumble! Fumble! And the Eagles scramble. And the Rams come up with it. The Eagles had a shot at it. I don't know if the Rams came up with it or not. The ball came loose. The Eagles had a clear shot at it. The Rams say they had it. And they do. The Eagles had a shot at that one.
They did. It was wide open. It looked like they were. The Eagles pick it up. He was the first guy there.
They were trying to pick it up and run with it instead of falling on it.
You see there, Ike Reese knocks the ball out of his hand. And you see it's free here. Now the Eagles going to be the first guy to it.
Yep.
Ike Reese makes a heck of a play there and bringing that right arm around and knocking that ball out of there. Oh, there was 2 Eagles
had a shot at it. 3 Eagles had a shot. 4 Eagles had a shot at it. But the Rams came up with it.
Well, you talk about this game being a game of inches, a game of this or that, and already had an instant replay turnover. We had that play there. I mean, that could have ended the game.
Yeah.
Won the game for the Eagles.
All they needed is a field goal. That's Quentin Caver, who's down. He's one of the Eagles who had a shot at it.
Yeah, as you say, there's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 Eagles right there.
Yep.
And all you have to do is fall on the ball. But the doggone thing has always been elongated.
Yes, it has, and it takes some funny bounces, doesn't it?
It takes some funny bounces, and I think when this thing started here, I think this elongated ball did take some funny bounces.
Rashard Cook had a shot at it. William Hampton had a shot at it. Mike Caldwell.
I'll tell you, every one of those guys was really trying to get it. There was no one there that wasn't trying to get that ball.
It's the Rams' ball at their own 5 after they fortunately came up with the ball.
These Eagle fans want a turnover here.
Yeah.
That's what they're rooting for.
Well, they had one, and it got away from them.
And they want another one. And you know, Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator of the Eagles, he's going to go after you. I mean, he never gets passive.
If you don't go, you don't know, is what he says. This is Marshall Faulk. And he gets outside the 10. He just sort of skates through defenders.
That key, I think, like we've been saying today, is patience. He said before he had a lot of injuries, he had real speed, and he tried to do everything with speed. Then when he lost his speed, he learned that you better use patience and then find holes and feel things, and that's the way he plays now.
Here comes the blitz. Warner gets it out to Faulk, and he gets close to a first down.
I
2:58 left and less than that now.
That's going to be short of a first down, so they're going to have to
first down.
Oh, they did call that a first down.
Marshall Faulk says, when you believe, it's amazing what you can achieve.
Yeah, and he's a guy that does believe. I mean, he grew up in New Orleans, and when he was recruited, everyone other than San Diego State wanted him to play defensive back, and he wanted to be a running back.
He didn't want to play defensive back.
So he went out to San Diego State, and the rest is history, isn't it?
Well, the MVP. Here's Warner back to throw it, and does up the middle, pass caught by who? Marshall Faulk. And that's another first down.
You know, when we were talking the other day to the Eagles and to Jim Johnson, he was saying the first thing we have to do is Marshall Faulk. He said our defense, we set on Marshall Faulk. He said we can't let him have his way with us. And the second thing we do is we have to knock Kurt Warner down, not let him get in a rhythm. They've kind of had Marshall Faulk controlled most of the time.
And we have 2 minutes left. And that's the only way either team can stop the clock. Neither has a timeout. It's left.
Well, that's number 20, Brian Dawkins here. They're really trying to punch that ball out of there. And when you have a guy like Marshall Faulk, you're not going to do it.
He doesn't fumble, among other things. Faulk fakes. I beg your pardon. Warner faked and incomplete. Intended. Barry Bonds just hit his 3rd home run of the day. That gives him 63. He has 5 runs batted in today, but 63 home runs.
You know, at some point, I'm not sure about this baseball, but don't you just, I mean, after a guy gets 2, don't you not give him another pitch to hit a home run out of? That's not a good sign there with Kurt Warner grabbing his passing hand.
Nope. The Eagles have put the pressure on him, especially early.
They put the pressure on him getting off the bus.
And here they come again, and he throws it out to Faulk, and Faulk is taken down right at the line of scrimmage. Carlos Emmons up to make the stop, and right now, let's go down to let's go back to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Pat and John, not 1, not 2, but 3 on the day for Barry Bonds. That's number 63. Fellas, he's on pace for 71 as the Giants stay in the wild card chase. Thanks to the man, Barry Bonds. Back to Pat and John.
And back at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, 1:20 left. 17-17 time. Third and long.
There's a pressure.
Warner says, I can't hear because of the crowd.
Yeah, but
and he walked away. Offense. Illegal timeout? Is that what he's saying?
I don't know. They can't take a timeout. They have no timeouts left.
They're walking off the 5. You can't do that. Delay of the game is what he called. 17-17, just over a minute left.
If Kurt Warner couldn't have heard, he could have stayed up there and asked the referee to quiet the crowd. But when he walked away, then it was delay of game.
Warner back to throw. And going deep. And intercepted by the Eagles. The Eagles picked it off. Damon Moore picked it off.
That was the thing. They had the blitz going. They picked up. They had plenty of time. Strong safety. Damon Moore comes back and makes a heck of a play. If they come on a blitz and they get the protection, he has time to wait to throw deep, and he throws it. Actually, it looked like it kind of wobbled out a little. Damon Moore is coming from the inside. Again, he's not a corner. He's a safety. The inside of the guy going over there in a double cover, and he gets a heck of a jump on the ball and gets over there and intercepts it.
But that's about as good as a punt for the Rams. They were third and really long. Those of you who watched San Diego beat Washington, welcome to Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where the Eagles have the ball, a 17-17 tie. The Eagles were behind by 2 touchdowns as we started the 4th quarter. And they've tied it up. There are no timeouts left, and the clock's still running as McNabb is hoping. And now is a man down.
Yep, it's down.
Two Rams injured on the play.
That's Dre Bly down there. Tyoka Jackson was the other player, but the injury timeout was down here for Dre Bly, number 32.
Really a break for the Eagles. I mean, you hate to say somebody being hurt is a break, but that stops the clock. And they couldn't stop it because they run out of timeouts.
We'll see. Here's Dre Bly right here covering, and you just see that's a turf injury right there. I mean, that's one of the things where your foot gets caught, and the only thing that can give is a joint. That's exactly what happened.
No contact.
You have to do something about these surfaces in football.
Well, when they move to the new stadium, maybe it just jarred him, but he's got to leave for a play. Akers, if you're thinking about field goal, is 3 out of 5 in his career from 50 yards plus.
Yeah, and to get a 50-yard plus, they would have to get a play of about 20 yards, the Eagles would here. Or to get to that position.
He hit a 50-yarder today, earlier.
Along with that fourth charge timeout, there's a 10-second runoff, which is declined by Philadelphia.
Yeah, see, you can't have an injury to stop the clock. So what they would do if the Eagles wanted, if the Eagles were winning, then and they would want that, you could take a 10-second runoff. But because they want the time, they decline the 10-second runoff.
32 seconds left. McNabb. Up the middle, complete to Deuce Staley. Now they got to hurry. Not close enough for Akers yet. 18 seconds left. McNabb spikes it. They're checking Kurt Warner's hand.
Yeah, I think when he followed through, I think he hit his right hand or his passing hand on a helmet or on a player. You know, that's the thing you always worry about when those guys are getting close to you, is you go and you follow through and your hand comes and hits something. You know, this is a play that we're talking about. It was after that play. And you can see that just as he was throwing, you see it's his thumb. Looked like he jammed his thumb in the ground. He jumped up and grabbed his right thumb.
Here's McNabb looking, dodging, looking still, running to get out of bounds, and dives with 8 seconds left. Seven seconds as Donovan McNabb stopped the clock.
And there's no way that they can kick a field goal from here, even though they do have a first down.
They got the first, but it would be what?
But you got to try and get, if you get to the 35-yard line, that would be a 52-yard field goal. And to get, he needs about 12 yards, so he should run like a 10 or 12-yard out, and then go for the field goal attempt.
Here's McNabb back to throw, standing in the pocket. And down he goes, and we're going to overtime.
I don't think they ran a 10 or 12-yard out. I don't think that they did it.
I don't think they did either.
No, they did. Everyone was going deep. I don't know. They weren't thinking of something, you know, to hit the outside and then go for the field goal. And Marshall Faulk has realized right here, I got some more playing to do.
Welcome to those of you who watched the 49ers come from behind to beat Atlanta 16-13. Welcome to Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where we are just about to start into overtime with the score tied at 17. Pat Summerall with John Madden. And here are the rules of overtime in the event you might not be familiar. First, let's check out the coin toss. Well, there are the rules.
And there's 1 15-minute quarter. Each team, they didn't have any timeouts. They both get 2 now. All replays are initiated from the booth.
St. Louis is a visiting team. At the corner of my hand, there's a head, there's a tail. Who's going to call the toss? Number 35 is going to call the toss. What is the choice? Tails. He is called tails. And it's a head. Philadelphia has won the toss. And will receive.
Really, if you look back statistically, if you win the toss and take the ball, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to win. It's about 50-50.
Right here, so both teams had a possession in 218 of 301 games. So the team that gets the ball doesn't always score. That's the thing a lot of people think.
17-17 tie. Super Bowl contenders, certainly. I don't know if they played in that fashion or not, but
well, we knew when we saw this game, the St. Louis Rams at the Philadelphia Eagles, you knew this was going to be a real football game.
Brian Mitchell and the rookie Carl Buckhalter.
It's something Andy Reid was saying when I was talking to him Friday. He says, you know, that people say, geez, you don't like the opening against St. Louis. It's a tough opening. He said, no, that's why you coach it to play games like this. And you coach to get in situations like this.
Mitchell out of the end zone. They'll start for the 20. In the event you've just joined us, here's the way it took place in the first half. A fumbled exchange from center by McNabb. Fraley, his new center. Marshall Faulk scored the touchdown from 7 yards out. Ernie Conwell, touchdown. That was the second one for the Rams. And McNabb went to work. That one was reviewed, and they overruled the initial call. That one, not much doubt about that. Both of them by Cecil Martin. Eagles have the ball, 1st and 10. Their own 20. Staley tracked down from behind by Sean Moran. Good hustle.
That was real good hustle by Sean Moran, because Staley had something going there. Sean Moran is a defensive end. Again, he read that screen, and when he reads it, he goes from here. Look, he goes all the way from the other side of the field. He was lined up on the right side, and he went all the way across the field and made that tackle.
Here's McNabb. Dumps it. That's Cecil Martin. 1st down, Philadelphia.
Number 52 is Tommy Polley. He's in there now for Don Davis. He's the rookie another one of the Rams' new players, rookie draft choices. They really liked him in preseason this year. 6'3",
Rookie from Florida State. They think he's going to be a headline player. 1st and 10. Like McNabb might be changing. Hurry. Now he calls timeout.
And he's going to use one. Remember the rules of overtime. They used all their timeouts already, but when you go into overtime, they get 2 more. So now Donovan McNabb just used one of his 2.
Book on McNabb for the day, 31 out of 47, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns. And really, he hasn't looked like what we expected. He hasn't scrambled like we thought.
No, and but he really did in the second half. He made a lot of things happen.
Yep.
And he had to overcome those 3 turnovers. I mean, that first half for the Eagles offensively was a disaster, because not only did they have 3 turnovers, but 2 of those turnovers the Rams turned into touchdowns. And then I still say about the momentum when they reversed that play.
Yep.
And they gave it was a 4th down play, because if they don't reverse that, then I think the Rams win the game. When they reversed that play, you could just feel the momentum of this whole place change.
1st and 10 at their own 35. McNabb scrambles away. Dumps it. Flag on the play as Deuce Staley keeps running.
back there in the area of McNabb was called by the referee, and that's usually offensive holding.
That's James Thrash who's down.
I'd say this is going to be against the Eagles, as the referee in the white hat calls two things. He protects the quarterbacks and calls holding on the right side.
Number 69. Offense, a 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
This is what he's watching. The number 69 is the right tackle, John Runyon. The referee is behind him. This is what he's watching, and he sees that left hand right there slide right down and almost become a tackle, and that was the block that let Donovan McNabb get outside of containment. James Thrash is still down there in the field.
He was obtained from the Redskins, or signed as a free agent, really. He played with the Redskins.
And he's had one catch today. You can see Thrash is right here. Looks like just, yeah. I think these guys are getting their feet caught in this turf. And then again, it's about a new turf, a different turf, and what kind of shoes you use and those kinds of things. I think we've seen 3 or 4 examples of that today.
Thrash appears to be okay.
This is a heck of an opener, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
These fans now can get into it. The first half, they had a tough time. They wanted to. They had a tough time getting, but now they can.
McNabb taken down. The pressure got.
Yeah, that's Brian Young.
Yeah.
Damian Lewis, the #1 draft choice, was starting at that position, and Brian Young played so well in the preseason. He didn't start a preseason game. Lewis did all the starting, and they said that Young played so well that you had to reward him, and they rewarded Brian Young by starting him at left tackle on opening day.
Got away from John Welburn, who had to leave the game because of a sprained ankle earlier. Here's McNabb again. And up in the pocket is McNabb, and he's going to take off. And McNabb scrambles to about the 26.
You can tell that these players are really getting tired.
Yeah.
And this is again, they play in preseason. They play a quarter here, a quarter there, no more than a half. And then you get that first game. It's kind of warm. You play in 4 quarters, and then you go into overtime. This is where you kind of, some other stuff has to take over, like adrenaline, like those kinds of things.
3rd and long. 5 out of 14 on 3rd down conversions, but this will be a tough one. McNabb.
Go backwards.
Cecil Martin. And the Eagles will have to punt it. Sean Landetta.
There's the defense getting up. You see that after that. They're not going in now, but we just saw a shot of once you don't pick up a 3rd down, all the defense stands up. They get rested. They go up there to get on the sideline to get ready to go in.
It'll be interesting to see if Kurt Warner did injure his hand, indeed. Now this ball was touched by the offense, so Oz Hakeem picked it up, and he could have run with it. And he did try to.
I don't know that that's not an illegal bat.
I don't know. It looked like it was. Speaking of 24, this fall Fox presents Kiefer Sutherland in a groundbreaking new series called 24. The critics love it. In fact, the New York Times calls 24 the most anticipated new show of the season. 24. The clock starts ticking Tuesday this fall on Fox. Speaking of 24. First and 10 at their own 36. Kurt Warner. 25 of 39. Gives to Falk. Marshall Falk picks his way for about 8. Stopped by Damon Moore.
Yeah, this is the time that you you put the ball in your hands of your players. I mean, Marshall Faulk is the MVP of the National Football League for a reason, because he wins games. And so when you get in these situations, you want Marshall Faulk to have the ball. You want Kurt Warner to get it. I mean, you want him to throw the ball, to Holt, and you want him to throw the ball to Isaac Bruce. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's why your best players are paid all this money to make plays in these types of situations.
Faulk gives the deep back. Warner to throw. Has his tight end Ernie Conwell, and Conwell gets a Ram first down. They only need, what, another 12 yards?
Yeah, you say that about all those big money guys.
Yeah.
It's the old tight end Ernie Conwell.
Yep. And Jeff Wilkins, career long of 57 yards.
I remember when we did the preseason game this year with the Rams, Mike Martz told us at that time that he's going to include his tight end more in their passing offense than they have. And I thought at the time, how are you going to do that? You only have one ball. You have Torrey Holt, and you have Isaac Bruce, and Oz Hakeem, and Ricky Prohl, and Marshall Faulk.
Here's Warner. Up the middle. Pass caught. Isaac Bruce gets him in range.
And that's the type of pass that we were talking about earlier. That Kurt Warner says, I don't throw to the receiver. I throw to a spot where he's going. And you can see here, Isaac Bruce is going to run it in, and he doesn't throw it to him. He throws it to that spot where he's going to go so that he can just get there. Watch this from back here. You see, he just throws the spot where he's going, and he lets Isaac Bruce run right into it and right through it.
Pitches to Faulk. Taken down. Loss of about 4 by Mike Caldwell.
I think the more you look at this thing, and not making excuses for anyone, but we saw Marshall Faulk slip there earlier. We saw Deuce Staley. I think that after the game, there's still going to be some complaints about this field
I think so too.
And what shoes they should have worn, and those kinds of things.
Remember the play with Deuce Staley?
Yeah, there
would have been a touchdown.
Yeah. And then we've had some injuries that were non-contact injuries and those kinds of things.
Today's game is being produced by Bob Stenner and directed by Sandy Grossman. The associate director is Mike Roig. Broadcast associates are Charles McDonald and Kerry Kloster. Technical producer is Bob Muller. Pre-game show is produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The senior producers, Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill.
While we're giving credits, could I give him credit?
Sure.
I'd like to give a credit to Noel Madden. My son.
Congratulations.
Yeah, my son Mike Madden's wife Noel delivered a baby, Jack Madden, on Friday afternoon. The delivery, the first thing Noel said is, football players are wimps.
May I add my congratulations.
Thank you.
The blitz is coming. A flag on the play.
Another flag. Flags all over the place.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 45, offense.
False start called against Jeff Robinson.
I don't know what all those other flags were, but they had a loss by Marshall Faulk and then a 5-yard penalty here.
Well, the play never got started.
They just lost. Yeah, but the play before that, Marshall Faulk lost yardage.
Yeah.
And then the 5-yard penalty here. I think in those two plays, they've been knocked out of field goal range. They were in field goal range. They are not now in field goal range.
Wilkins' longest is 57 yards, so it's marginal.
That would be about right here.
Yeah. And it's second down. Warner, the pass is caught.
Oh, he got it back right there.
Isaac Bruce made the catch, the tough catch, too.
That was one of those things that you're going to do it. You see, they tried to disguise the coverage. They try and get a bump on Bruce. They do it, and there's a hole right between the corner and the safety. You have to throw it over the corner, and you have to get it there before the safety gets there. And that's exactly what Kurt Warner did. Isaac Bruce put himself in the perfect position. Kurt Warner made the perfect throw. Now they're back in that field goal range.
Oh, well within.
They're in bigger touchdown range, too.
a reverse to the tight end, Ernie Conwell, who gets inside the 10. Would you take a chance, or would you go ahead and field goal it here? Here comes the field goal unit.
I was going to say I would wait until 3rd down, but he's going to do it on 2nd. I think that I would take another shot. I guess when you run the old 255-pound tight end on a reverse and that doesn't work, you better kick the field goal. But the thing that this gives you, if anything goes wrong, of course, if you miss the kick, then they get the ball. But if anything goes wrong in the snap or the hold, then you still have 2 more down.
Wilkins didn't miss an extra point or a field goal all year last year. Timeout, Philadelphia.
I don't know. This is the old icing them thing. I don't know. You're an old kicker, OL kicker.
Yeah.
Did that ever work against you?
Not that I remember.
But one thing I noticed, they don't go in the huddle. If you look here, Wilkins is way back here, and the huddle is 20 yards away from him. Now, what's that all about?
I went in the huddle.
See, yeah, but here's the huddle. So you used to go in here. You'd be the kicker in here. But now Wilkins is back here, and his guys are huddling up, talking about what he's going to do. Yeah, see, he doesn't want to talk to anyone, does he?
No.
You used to go in the huddle and talk to him and stuff?
I wanted to find out what was going on and how we got there.
All they're going to say is kick the ball.
Yeah, and that's
through these 2 things.
Right. Wilkins from 25 yards. The Rams win it in overtime. 25-yard field goal by Jeff Wilkins, 20-17.
I'll tell you, for an opening day game, this was a great game, and both teams gave everything they had. I mean, there's a lot of empty tanks that are walking off this field right now.
And just think about how many tanks have got to be filled and how many times they've got to be filled before the rest of this season is over.
I mean, you think that you have an opener like this, and you're the Rams, and you have to come in here, and this is a tough place to play. I mean, playing in this stadium is tough. Playing against this Eagle team is tough. They said they were going to go after Kurt Warner all day. They did, but I'll tell you, he hung in there.
And the Rams picked it up. Down to Ron Pitts.
Thank you, Pat. Marshall, you guys had to do it the hard way today. You had some yards, but they were tough yards.
Definitely. Philadelphia is a great team. They got a great defense, great offense, and they play special teams well. I think when we got this matchup, and I know when they did, this is a playoff caliber game, and that's what you got. You got a really good game today.
We asked Kurt at halftime about the blitzing. They brought the corners quite a bit today. Did that surprise you guys?
No, I mean, we figured that they were going to do that. They don't want to line up and try to just play zone. They came out and they were aggressive, and they had some success with it, so they stuck with it throughout the game. What we had to do is buckle down and make plays.
For a while in the 3rd quarter, it looked like they shut you down. You shut you guys down a little bit. What changes did you make coming back in the 4th quarter?
No, I think that we just made some mental errors. We drove down the field. I mean, we had a 17-play drive and maybe another 12-play drive, and we didn't get any points out of them. We got a field goal and an interception. I mean, that kind of takes a little bit out of you because you expect to put them away, and they hung in there. But, I mean, that's what great teams do, and they're a great team. They're on the rise.
Forget about the turf and the shoes. You get the win. That's all that matters.
That's it.
Good luck next week, man. All right, thanks a lot. Pat, back up to you.
All right, Ron, thank you. And headed for the locker room, a dejected group of Eagles. And the Ram trip home to St. Louis will be a lot shorter. 20-17, the Rams win in overtime.